writing those books, but I wrote them years ago when my kids were little. I write dramatic thrillers now for adults.
Books for adults? I guess that's a thing.
Yes, it is.
You need to go get it. Oh, you did, huh? Why are you wearing good shorts to bed? Why do you do that? Stop doing that. We did this last year. I'm going to fight you, Donovan.
Cry about it.
No, wear your bedtime
I teach you
clothes.
things, and therefore I get to look at you.
Yeah. Is this better, guys? Are we frozen? Can you see me? Hello, hello. Are we still frozen?
Hi. Is it good, everybody?
I think they can see us now. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. I turned on my Wi-Fi, so it's probably going to get wonky. So let me know when it does.
Yeah, I sort of wish there was more to it.
Why is he acting so squirmy? What's going to make him squirmier?
Okay, not the same. Again, Peachy says froze. Are you saying that now, Peach?
Yes, that's my
Do what?
Is it froze again now?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Bonnie, what's it doing for you?
I don't know.
No.
She may
Everyone
not
said
be
it
able to
was
hear
frozen
us.
at first.
It was fine for me before, but I think we're good now.
All right. So if you guys can, make sure that you like this live while we're going. Share it out. Tap my nose, boop my nose, all you want. But we need to address a few things tonight. And just, there are creators using misinformation basically to gain views and gain follows. And it's getting a little out of control. Even when they're talked to respectfully, like when we come to them about it and say, hey, this isn't facts, they're getting angry and kind of doubling down on things. Bulldog.
Yeah. So, and, I want to say too that, this is not about drama. This is, we really want to make sure everyone knows that it's about quality, not quantity with us. It is true crime. I know the statement was made earlier about drama, things like that. Many of you have been here for a while. This is something that we don't do. We address things if it's necessary. But for myself, when I started TikTok, it wasn't for true crime. I still love making normal, regular content. But I want to, when it is true crime, make content that is factual to the best of my ability. And you know what? Sometimes that's not attractive to people. And that's okay with me because it doesn't matter. So that is a contradicting statement for people like me and Mindy and Hansi that are not doing this for clout. We're not doing this to gain following. This is something we truly love.
Deflected statement because it seemed like the
It
person
was.
that was saying that is the person who is doing that. I know for me, like yourself, it's about quantity or quality over quantity. I would rather have a good base than people that just like to look by at the train wreck. This is very frustrating.
And theories and speculation, we all love all of that. But where we're not the same is that we choose to do this on okay, I'm going to stop for a minute. My kids are, hold on, I'll resume that in a minute. Somebody else want to hang on?
Yeah, I'll say something. So you guys know I'm a marketing guy, right? And so I'm a geek when it comes to authors like Seth Godin. If you're in PR or marketing or anything, you know who Seth Godin is. But he talks about tribes being basically that it's people who are connected by a common leader and a common subject or a common passion. And I think that's why we talk about like the true crime community, because we're all kind of connected. But there are definitely different leaders. Like we have leaders in the comments tonight. I'm not a leader, but Mindy's a leader, Peachy's a leader, I think, and there's several people who are kind of supporting creators and stuff like that. And sometimes I think it's funny how we talk about drama, because I think a lot of times it starts in the comments with people who follow different content creators. And a lot of times that's kind of driven by that. And I know we're not talking drama tonight, but inevitably this is going to lead down a path of people making drama, or it could. And I think for me, it's more about the topic. It's the topic, true crime, that kind of creates that community more than it is those personalities. So what I would love to see tonight is for us to disassociate and put aside personalities and say, you may be wired this way. This may be the way you do things. I don't care. What I want to talk about is content, and say, whether you're, dramatic, or you're, straight to the point, or you're low key, or whatever, as long as the content is solid, I don't care how you are.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
But that's the thing. Like, I feel like they're taking theories that they know are debunked for a fact. Like, they know it's been debunked. It's been explained to them.
For sure.
And they're like, but it's a theory, so we're going to keep going with it. And then they start talking about it as though it's fact. And then people come in and start believing that. And it's just dangerous. Like, now they're insinuating that Kaylee might have some connections with rugs or rug dealing, when the truth of the matter is she worked hard as a waitress and saved her tips up for her down payment for her car. I'm sure graduation money went into that too. The woman was about to graduate from college. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that we're coming up with these speculatory theories. I mean, like,
Right.
like
And the
did the other
vehicle,
night. She was able to
yeah,
go
I mean,
over
the vehicle
actual
wasn't paid in full
paperwork.
either. I mean, there was, from what I understand, still a car note. It wasn't like it was paid for in cash. And if I'm not mistaken, even a fundraiser was created to help the family complete that so they could keep her vehicle. So this kind of information, and whether it's in the comments or anywhere else, just be very careful, because these kinds of things, it sheds a dimmer light on the victims, and that is unacceptable in my opinion.
And what happened today with the older woman getting Cindy on her live, I think that was just to stir up drama, because that lady does not like me, because I've tried to talk to her before. I thought that we were kind of on the same page, where I can be like, hey, let's not spread misinformation. It's probably not a good thing. She took that as an attack. And now apparently I didn't know that we were at war, but apparently we are. I don't know. And she said some comments today that were just off the wall. But I don't feel like that had anything to do with the case, other than she loves to speculate and she loves to go down that road. She believes that WSU Mom Kim and all that stuff was valid. She takes when you're correcting her as a personal attack, and it should never be like that. Like, we should want to be consistent.
Yeah, and on this side, as far as I'm concerned, there is no war to be had, because I
Right.
just don't care enough. And
I hadn't
what
even
I've
thought about
noticed
them until
is,
today, and I didn't know
right, well,
why.
and
Like,
I
all of
don't
a sudden they
speak
were being
of
attacked.
these other people. It's not of interest to me, but I do know, it's come to my attention that situations in the past have been brought up several times. So it's not me that is concerned with it, but it appears that there's concern still on the other side, and that's fine. We don't work that way over here.
Yeah.
And
Hey, and
Floofs can give some good information, and I feel like needs to speak on some subjects. And I'm so glad to see you in here again, Floofs. Hello, darling.
Hey, and I think one thing I want to also say is that this live, and the reason why I'm on it, is not to discuss any other creators who may or may not be, having lives about us. It's to pinpoint incorrect information and rumors that have been put out by various TikTok creators on multiple platforms,
Mm-hmm.
Reddit, the Facebook pages, like common misinformation that it seems like to me every few months continues to be repeated. And so, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's I think that's what this is about, correct?
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And Floops, let me just add to that. I'm not going to speak for anyone else in the room, but as far as I'm concerned, like if like what you said, Mindy, if someone, is at war, great. Y'all have that war way down beneath me.
that's
Right?
what I
Not
said.
you,
I
but
had no idea that was even happening.
well,
Like,
yeah, I know. No, I'm with you. I'm just
and then
saying
all of a sudden
if
there's a
any of those
log
people are
today about
watching tonight, you feel free to do whatever you want, but I'm way above that, and I know that the rest of the creators in this room are. Gosh, I can't tell you. I mean, I literally could not care less about drama or anything like that. I'm more interested in the topic as far as, man, this really has to come to a stop because it is at the end of the day victim shaming, and it is
Very much so.
yeah,
Very, very
and
much
and,
so.
and it
Um,
hurts. It hurts
And I
communities.
mean,
It hurts people.
I'll be honest about victim shaming that took place today, just a few hours ago. On so Cindy did a video today about feeling as though people were calling her names, and to kind of clear up some things that had happened. And if she felt that way, I truly apologize. However, in the comments there was somebody, I'm not going to identify usernames or whatnot, but started off by saying that why did Kaylee recently move out of the house, and how could she afford a $120,000 Range Rover? And honestly, if you read it, it implies that she's a rug dealer. Like that is 100%. And
And
there's
that's
also
total
been,
bullshit.
and there's also been OF, rumors. And she worked very hard, save, took out a loan. It was a used vehicle, an older model, that she got at a used dealership up in Coeur d'Alene. And so it's just the way that things are worded. And I mean, you can go and look at that video if you want. I replied very factual. Her response was, "Oh well, you still have to think about it." No, you don't, because there's facts out there. And
it's
who the
like
fuck
they don't
cares?
want
Like,
to shut
yeah,
down the rumors. They want to
no,
keep perpetuating them because it gets more attention for them. It gets more viewership for them. That
correct.
is like they're trying to
And
make content
Kaylee's
that people will want to watch and not so much what is factual,
correct.
because what is factual is probably not as entertaining and as TV worthy as the speculation.
And when the because at first, before it was rug money, it was speculation of her being on OF, which I mean she's a gorgeous girl, and the fact that it even and people were even referring to her as the girl with the big boobs. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean? But so Kaylee's sister did do a interview and talked about the car and how she financed it and everything. So if y'all would like to, and I believe that was within 2 months of the tragedy. So there is a video of her sister talking and discussing the facts about how Kaylee was able to purchase that vehicle. So that's one rumor that has continued to be perpetuated, and is still being mentioned and commented on videos up as of today. By people that are identifying themselves as defense attorneys, and so it's just one of those things that it's, again, before we speak confidently, or you say, like, say it with your chest, before you say it with your chest, like, check your facts, right?
Yeah.
That's all. Simple Google,
Because
my
you're going to be
friends.
real embarrassed when you say it with your chest and you turn out to be wrong.
Yeah. But anyways, that's like one just from today that I was like, really, still.
Right. And, I also want to say, I know that we all have questions. I know that we are all ready for the next step in this, but we still have to be mindful for even not necessarily the victims, but when you hear talk about the DoorDash driver and who that might be potentially, and them being in jail, what is actually happening, because there's no fact out there about that situation. Nothing's been released by LEO. If that is indeed false information, what's happening is those people suffer from that. And their
And
lives are the ones that are changed forever, not the people doing it, because they can move on and never think about it again. You have to be careful.
correct.
That is
And
insinuating guilt
And
for
that's not an
someone.
if, that's a fact. So within a month of the incident, and Mindy, I sent you the video and the screenshots. I don't know if you want to like green screen that for people to see, but there was a news article from a reputable source that quoted law enforcement saying that that DoorDash driver was cleared and everything. So as far as like those connections, like there is, again, if you just do a simple Google search, like law enforcement is like, put that information out. I don't know if Mindy, if you, but
I don't
I shared
think
it
that
with
I
Bobby
saved it to
too.
do it. I don't know how to. I can green
Okay.
screen it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that situation takes us all the way back before the arrest when there were accusations towards friends in the community that, and there shouldn't have been.
Right. Like they cleared the DoorDash
It's just a
driver a
rerun, a
long
replay of
time
all
ago.
that, but it's a different person. It's no different. And people were wrong.
And just like about the car that they said was Demetrius's brother, and it wasn't his brother. Like they didn't even own the house at the time. They had sold the house. It was the new people that were there. It was their Elantra. Like, and these things
And
we've all
I
seen them.
misspoke and I one apology because I'm sending you when I said the DoorDash driver, I meant how they're saying this girl Emma was the DoorDash driver and that there was a connection with them and the sixth roommate on the lease. So that's what this article is referring to. So when I say DoorDash driver, I didn't mean the actual one. It's the one that people are referring to as, which is Emma. So I'll mute myself and shut up. Sorry.
No.
Don't you
Yeah.
dare be sorry, Floofs.
And I wanted to state too, and Mindy, how many boxes do you have on this account? Just the 6?
I have 6 on this account, but I have 9 on the other account.
So does anybody want to pop in and say anything? I think we have one more box. If I know there are a couple of creators that may, I can pop out for a little bit to give somebody some room, but I know that there are other content creators that may want to speak on this who are like-minded.
Yeah, and I don't want to take up the whole
Yeah, I
thing.
can pop out too as needed. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we want to give people an opportunity to do that. So just let us know if you do.
Did the link that I just dropped in there, I don't know if it filtered out the words because I left Killian's in there. So but if you search that, y'all, it's just Moscow police say a 6th person on the lease isn't involved in the Idaho student. That then will refer you to all the necessary, reputable sources, which this was again within a month of the murders, and this will negate or disprove the rumors that this Emma girl was friends with that 6th roommate, was a DoorDash driver, which wasn't really DoorDash, was a rug dealer situation.
I'm
Whatever
going to
those
pop
rumors are.
out because I think that I saw Kristen
Sorry.
come in. I'm going to pop out so
Okay.
that she can come back in.
oh, hey Peachy, you stay. I'm gonna pop
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Are you sure? Okay.
Otherwise, I'm not really contributing. I can always hop down until you say the code word.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hi.
And hey,
Hi.
Drew.
Hey. So I think you guys said everything really well. I would only add that, I would be mindful of the content you consume on any platform where people are getting paid for clicks and views and likes. And
I'm
it's only
snapping.
because, I'm sorry?
I'm snapping like yes, queen. Say it again. Like say it
Oh,
louder for the people in
okay.
the back.
I'm sorry. Too many probiotics today. But yeah, I mean, there's no TikTok police. Nobody's telling you what to do or what kind of content you want to create. That's totally your
That wasn't
decision.
even the point of it.
But you have to also know that if you're going to do these conspiracy theories and just this crazy victim blaming, then you have to suffer the consequences, and that's where we are.
Yeah. And
And
instead
that's where
of
we are.
taking
Absolutely.
accountability and saying, yes, I'm wrong, I'm sorry, and not doing it, I feel like they're doubling down now because
Well, I
someone
mean,
doesn't like me, so they're going to double down on misinformation just to kind of get at me. Like, you're not hurting me, you're hurting the
right.
victims of all these family members. Like, what are you doing?
My right. And I appreciate that you want to ask questions and question authority and the reports and the official explanation. I'm all about that, but I do that shit privately.
And can I piggyback off of that, Bonnie? So not only be mindful of the content you consume, but be mindful of who might be consuming your content as well as your comments and your interaction with others. I am from the University of Idaho community. I work at the university. I hear people, whether it's in passing or a direct conversation to me, I hear people talk consistently about creators and the content that is made, whether, the good, the bad, and the very ugly that has been made about the community. Please be mindful of, who is reading these comments, as they're trying to heal and process and whatever that might be as well. So that's a double-edged sword.
Can I just add one thing? I don't know if I don't want to step on anybody's toes here. Like I don't want to
Step,
interrupt.
baby, step. You
Oh,
step.
you're good, Kristen. Go ahead.
First, I just want to say thank you guys so much for getting my first name correct, because so many people call me Christian. So thank you so much. Like that sounds, I sound goofy being excited about it, but it means a lot.
There's no
Yeah, well,
IAN. It's
I
just
thought I was
AN.
following you and I saw you pop in and I was like, wait a minute, am I not? So I sent you a follow. But yes, I think you're awesome.
Thank you so much, and I feel the same about you guys. I think my biggest concern about this, not just the misinformation, because survivor's guilt is very real, and
Very real.
the survival rate or the unalive rate of survivor's guilt is extremely high. And I'm trying to become an advocate about online harassment of women, and it's as if people think, well, they're not here, so I can just throw these people under the bus. And I'm all for an informed argument. If you have a reason why you think the roommates could be involved, I want to hear it, but please base it in fact, what we know, and not rugs or OF or, that's when things take this really ugly turn. And, I've been, I'm going to use the word harassed. And I won't say the name of the creator, but it's been brought up in this last few minutes where I was, she didn't like something that I said. I thought I responded to her very respectfully. And she went across the app and did a search for my username and started going to people's pages and, and if they didn't like me, she wanted them to come to her page and say nasty things about me. And it escalated to a place where I was like, this feels off to me. This is disproportionate. And that's when I started to take a step back, because I felt like there's two camps. There's the facts camp, and then there's the conspiracy camp. And, if you say anything and if you bring something up from the PCA, then you're blocked. You're just blocked, or then it becomes, well, how are we going to ridicule you to keep you quiet? And I don't care for that. If I feel strongly about something, I will speak up about it. And I don't like to see this Lord of the Flies thing where it becomes this, I saw it with Aaron a couple of weeks ago in a live, and the whole crew of them just all turned on him and were just mean. Like, I felt like I was in high school, and that's when I kind of go, oh, this isn't my camp. I need the camp. So that's really all I wanted to say.
No, I'm glad you did. And, I want everybody to know, if you haven't followed Kristen, she has a lot of great videos out there that explain the PCA and pretty much debunk some of the stuff out here so that people, I think they're great and very well done. So.
And side note, she's also an advocate for women in a variety of ways. So outside of this case, please follow her, support her content. She's incredible.
She's one of the first people I followed back. I will be completely honest. I was, oh my God, I love her content. Please follow her. She's wonderful.
Before y'all. So.
What? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it's true.
Aw.
She
Hi.
has a great podcast and newsletter too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, body.
I didn't see a message, but I think somebody messaged me about
I,
whatever
Welcome
that
to our
was.
fam,
I'll get
Christian.
down.
We love
I just want
everybody.
to. I'll
Were
get
they
down.
talking about?
I gotta go watch hockey anyway. But I just wanted to say I
Okay.
love y'all, and even the
Love
people
you.
watching from the
We love you,
outside
Minnie.
that you think we're talking about you. I promise I've got love in my heart for you. You know,
Absolutely.
we just gotta get our shit together. That's it. All right, love you guys.
Love you,
Bye.
Thank
Have
Bonnie.
a
you,
good.
Paige.
Enjoy the game, babes.
Bye. Thanks, honey.
Who is Tiff talking about? Who was she talking about?
Kristen, I
I
just
think like
wanted to. Oops,
yeah,
sorry.
I
Go
vote
ahead,
we
please.
just ignore those like in it. Maybe there's some negative comments. Like let's not mute. Let's not block people. But
No,
can we
I
maybe just like not
didn't.
engage?
I was just wondering who
Yeah.
she was referring to.
Yeah. I'm
Because
just
she
saying
said
don't give
one
me
of us
attention.
was attacking Cindy last night. So
I
I was
think
just wondering
Kristen, but
who she was referring to.
I don't know. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Minnie. That was rude of me. I'm sorry. That was not cool. This is your live. You can
No,
have
you're
fun
you're
with it.
fine. Like I'm bringing it all up, and especially like I don't know. They're saying I don't know if they meant you or me was attacking Cindy in their live, and I don't think anyone went in there attacking Cindy last night. So I
Oh,
think that
neither one of us were at all. No.
In
yeah,
Cindy's live,
yeah,
Thank you,
that
yeah,
Beans.
Tiff was just in
I don't believe that
commenting.
to be the case. And if it was in reference to the live after that, there's a difference. There's constructive criticism. We just want, we want to be as constructive when we see things like this, for the better. That's all that is. So whether one takes it a certain way or another way, that's up to
Yeah.
them. That's not up to us.
Yeah, and let me say to that. Thanks for letting me back in, Mindy. Here's the thing: when we're talking about true crime, especially when it's coming, I hate to use the word camp, but it just so we understand what we're talking about from the facts camp. I think I think it's important to realize if you're following a particular creator and you feel that way, like they're coming for your friend, you need to realize that we're going to interact with content, not with personalities, right? That's exactly why we are in this camp, because we're not about, oh, well, what's this person like? It's more about what are the facts, right? So if you understand that and realize that, just like Body said, we got love for everybody, right? But if that person is spouting some really inaccurate stuff, I think it behooves everyone, especially that creator, for someone to step in and correct that.
And you know what? I think that we need to think about the families. I just read a message, and it's Mother's Day. It's these
Yeah.
mothers' first Mother's Day without their kids. And even get on and perpetuate these rumors and these conspiracies on today of all days is absolutely just disrespectful and wrong. I mean, there's a lot of other things that we could have
And
had.
yesterday when it was
Yeah,
graduation,
yeah.
and
Like
so
that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
just
Like
Yeah.
yep, both
I
days.
think I
Yep.
said it yesterday. Like they could have had a live instead of talking about all these crazy conspiracies that there's facts that prove against them. They could have been talking about the graduation. They could have been thinking about doing something for these moms. I mean, there was 1,000 other things to do, but
And
it wouldn't get as many views.
Ethan and Xana weren't graduating, but they were going to be moving up to Priest Lake to work up there this summer. So they were going to be moving in with Jim and Stacy to celebrate Mother's Day weekend. So there's just, these people there should have been things that these kids were doing, not, the perpetrating the rumors is just not cool.
He didn't tell us. Oh, he didn't tell us.
He wasn't sitting down here staring at you guys.
No,
Trying to get your attention.
not at all.
He just came up to the bedroom.
Well, he wanted you then.
And
Sorry, guys.
Shannon, that's a great point. If we put ourselves in the shoes of the people that are being speculated about, how would you feel? How would we feel?
Right. Like,
And
what if
that's
it was
just
perfect?
that's one of our many points that we're trying to make. Um, they have to live with this forever when things like this has happened to them. Again, going back to before the arrest, and there was all the speculation about Jack and um, Jake and the roommates and things like that. I mean, not only do they have to deal with what happened, and they're a part of that, whether they're a victim, secondary, whatever, for the rest of their lives, but the people that are doing this, again, walk away and forget about it and go on to the next thing to do this. And that's not okay. It's not right to do that.
Because they were, I mean, even the live, I think that yesterday, that started the whole let's calm down on the misinformation. Chef was very adamant that the girls took a picture with, was it Hunter or Todd? What was his name, Floofs?
Ethan. Hunter's his brother, but
But they said that he took a
they said
picture.
it was with Hunter. Correct. They said
Yeah.
it was with Hunter and it was on the deck of the house, which
And
that
it's
is not
not.
true.
Yeah, I
No,
saw
it's
the picture
not the
today.
deck of the house. Yeah, I sent you the picture. So,
And they were adamant. And when
yeah.
you tried to correct them, Floofs, they shut you down. It was no, no, no,
Yeah.
don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And
And I mean, they were standing on a deck and it was a house with a similar color, but I mean, you can clearly see the other house in the background, similar
I was gonna
area.
say, wasn't the girl's house? It looked like the girl's
It
house was
was.
next
It
to it.
was. And also, there was very early on where this picture was taken, those neighbors were interviewed and they were on the news. And those neighbors basically said like they didn't interact much with the girls. And so, if you just kind of, and me knowing who those students are, they didn't run in similar groups either. So there's just a lot of misinformation.
Hmm. And I think that's the whole point here is that there's better ways to make content. I mean, we don't have to make such a spectacle just to get a view, just to get a follow, just to get attention. This case is bad enough with just the facts.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted to touch on the young man who unfortunately lost his life. I think this is the same one we were talking about back
Hudson.
in May.
His name is
Yeah.
Hudson.
This is not related, and the family has said that they want those speculations and theories to stop. They're still grieving their lost one. Um, People need to respect that, and not every little thing that's gone on in Moscow or around that area has something to do with this case. Just be
And I would
mindful.
love to speak on that as well, if you don't mind, Peachy. But
Please.
Hudson
Absolutely.
he was not a fraternity member at all. I think that there's one article that was from a non-reputable, source that was published online. I think this is where some creators are pulling their information. Like they see one article that's really not founded at all, and they're like, okay, cool, let's run with it. But so the day before Hudson passed, apparently they said like Maddie and a bunch of the people were spotted at a fraternity party. Cool. Like, what does that matter? Like, that has nothing to do with it. And they said it was close. I actually did send, like, close to where his body was found. I sent screenshots of the map to Mindy so she could, like, see the distance. Not even close. These people did not run in similar circles. Like, great. I mean, half of that probably college was at fraternity or sorority or off campus parties that night as well. So, are they all involved in this somehow or some way? So, yeah, he lived off campus, was not a part of the Greek community, was not involved. There's no connection whatsoever.
You think people would have learned the first
And that
time
was
after
also not a river. It's not a river, you guys. It's like this tiny bridge that goes across a runoff ditch. That's what it was. Like,
Yeah, it's
that's,
like not even a creek, guys. It's
no.
like, unfortunately, it's enough to drown in, but it was not a waterway of any sort. And tragedies happen, but to try to jam them all together to fit into some kind of crazy narrative because it makes a more interesting story for you is not the
Yeah,
way to
and
do it.
with the overdoses, like quoting that there's been multiple overdoses, to prove a point that somehow these other four victims were connected to drugs in any way, shape, or form isn't cool either. Hudson he had consumed alcohol that night, which, I mean, technically that's a rug, but no way was Hudson associated with that as well. So to imply that is incorrect. Additionally, there was a girl who people haven't brought up her name too much, so I prefer not to. But she did. It's, I mean, technically it was an overdose, but it was from sleeping pills. Her family has chose not to divulge if that was suicide or accidental. So it was published as just an overdose, but that was sleeping pills. And they have come out and said, hey, please don't connect our daughter in any way, shape, or form. And those, aside from, you know, another girl that died of a brain embolism, those are the only deaths within the past few years at our campus.
Right. And like I thought was interesting, you sent me that article where you said they were basically trying to scare the kids. And, you know,
Yep.
they said, oh, at minimum, there could be like one death a week because of fentanyl. They were
One
it was
overdose,
also
one
like,
overdose, not
right,
death, overdose. Yep.
right. Which lots of them don't end in death. And I took it as like, this is what could happen, or this is what it breaks down to. Like they weren't saying, oh my God, we're having OD deaths every week. Like we're losing these kids. It was nothing like that. And people, they take this small little fragment of something and turn it
Correct.
into these crazy theories. And I mean, that's what allows these people like that WSU Kim, Mom Kim or whatever, to come out, that they're seen and learn to be completely untrue and debunked, but they come out because that's what, like, there are people that latch on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What,
absolutely.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
Didn't mean.
No, I was actually just going to ask you if, off the top of your head, because you've made so many videos and you've been able to debunk and you've, you know, come back with a lot of these things, are there any other past theories that were just way out there that you recall that you can talk about, and why that's misinformation and what actually is true? Sorry to put you
I,
on the spot. You just have so
I,
many great videos out there.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if this is so much a like a theory, but I see a lot of people saying, well, I mean, there was blood all over the house, or there had been screaming, and well, no, we don't know that. You're assuming that, and you're taking that assumption, and you're building a narrative off of it. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, the Ethan in the doorway. Ethan was found in the doorway. No, he wasn't. You know what? Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but we don't, like the PCA said in the room, and I can't
And
tell you.
Kristen, on that one, Kristen, I'm going to piggyback off that really quickly. There have been creators that talked about what happened to Ethan, which was misinformation, and
Yes,
his family has seen that content, y'all, and it is disgusting. Just
yeah,
like,
Isn't it
so
sad?
I
Like
just
these
want to
people should
piggyback
be
off of that.
ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed.
yeah, and it's, we also have to blame the media on that one, and the idea that a news station, that a station that rhymes with news station will go with, well, Ethan was killed in the doorway, or he was attacked in the doorway. Now they don't say he died in the doorway. They're weaponizing language to convey something, so that
Because
if
it's
they're wrong,
sensationalism.
right, so that if they're wrong, they can say, well, we didn't say he died in the doorway. We said he was attacked, or he was killed in the doorway. And I,
They say it in a way to
yeah,
cause the pandemic and to cause that we need to see this. Oh my gosh, what is this? It's so interesting. It's the same thing that these creators are doing.
the lack of nuance, that is the problem. People hear one thing, and they don't they don't uh well, how did she not go to the bathroom? She must have gone to the bathroom, because who waits 8 hours to go to the bathroom? Well, maybe she went downstairs. Or maybe, I mean, I don't, I'm 54. I could, 8 hours to go to the bathroom is a dream. And but you know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. And
Mm.
people, there's just no nuance. Well, why didn't they do this, and why didn't they do that? Because they're thinking of it, I think the word I'm looking for is very, very linearly, rather than
And
Um,
well, very much within like their own context of their own lives. So with your own experiences, knowledge, and based on those experiences, you assuming that something should be the way it would be in your life. For example, how did they not go until afternoon? These kids were up till 4 a.m. partying. I never woke up
Right.
before 2 p.m. in college. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Well, to say
And
nothing
I
of the
said the
fact that
same
they're
thing from
dealing
the
with.
very beginning. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Brian. Sorry.
No, I mean, just to say nothing of the fact that we're all dealing with very little information on
yeah,
purpose by design.
yeah.
We have a 10 what the police have. We have
for
a
a
10th.
reason.
Like,
Can you imagine that? Like, if more information was put out, can you imagine how like much more people would run with everything else? It's just
right. Right.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
that's
I
like,
know.
I mean, just like I think I want to bring this up because this was another thing that was bugging me in the videos I've seen made recently is they're still continuing with that narrative that there were all these kids in that house that morning before the police came running through that house.
Yep.
And that's not what happened.
Nope.
Like they've proven that isn't what happened. And they're
correct.
still continuing to
Yeah.
say that.
Yep.
Correct.
Like that's damaging to people's reputations. That's damaging to the integrity of the case. That's damaging to the family.
Like I
Can we
will. I
stay?
cannot. I will not say like who, but I can tell you I know exactly who was there and exactly what happened, and I can say that
Right.
that did not. Like
Yeah.
I know, and
What's very frightening on this app, and it's an overarching problem, is people will take whatever they hear at face value and never question it. And
Yeah.
there's research,
Yeah.
correct.
right? There's all
Another one oh sorry.
and there's research, very accessible research, and it's a confirmation bias, it's a cognitive dissonance. They don't want to see the research because then that's going to make them realize that this narrative that they've been holding on to for so long, that they bought into, that they believed, and not just the narrative but the creator, that's going to put everything into question, and that's unsettling for a lot of people.
Very unsettling. And there's some more recent videos, like as of they were actually made today, two from two different creators that were kind of reinvigorating the gossip about the time, the quote unquote time that Xana and Ethan were, we don't know their whereabouts between when they left Sigma Chi and got home. And then it was obviously proven that, the timeline has been, looked at a little bit deeper. And y'all think about this. Think about how many college kids take pictures, videos, TikToks. They were able to verify their location from selfies, videos, all of that taken. So to now go back and say we don't know where they are, that was bullshit because we know exactly where they are and law enforcement has all that information.
Mhm.
So just to say that there's lost time for funsies is untrue.
And I wish Body was here because there are people asking like about the Emma theory and stuff, and that's already been debunked. She wasn't the DoorDash driver that
That
night.
has all, yes, correct.
We got it. I mean, think about what you're doing in that poor girl. Like, yeah, she has her
Exactly.
problems and her own troubles, but God, guys, come on.
Hey, here's another
I
thing.
know,
I don't know
and
if you
that's what I
guys
was
saw
saying
this.
earlier.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying the same thing earlier, like the ripple effect of that kind of thing and those kind of videos and speculation on Emma and Demetrius or whatever his name is just unbelievable. If they've been cleared, or else she's been cleared, or if she was even the DoorDash driver, I don't think we even know that. Okay,
Did,
Brian.
didn't they say that the DoorDash driver lived near? Hi, Bubba. Didn't they say that the DoorDash driver lived near Brian? Wasn't that
Correct.
something they said?
I thought,
I
no,
feel like
yeah,
yes. I feel like I
yes,
saw that somewhere.
I
yeah.
believe that
In
was
the very
actually the ride
beginning.
share, wasn't it?
Okay.
No,
No,
the ride share. Let me clear that up really quickly because I
I was
can
gonna,
clarify
it
that.
definitely
So
said, it might be
Thank
the
you.
DoorDasher.
yeah, so the DoorDasher in the very beginning, which this is the DoorDash driver was a neighbor or lived in the same area of Brian and was a male, because the Jack in the Box, we don't know, obviously, if that bag in the picture was from that night. It doesn't have a timestamp or a date, so we do not know. But Jack in the Box in Pullman is the only thing open at that time. It is only 7 miles from there to the house. You know, think about you guys in a city, how far people deliver stuff. That is not abnormal. So that's where that came from. Now back to the ride share. What we do in Moscow is within fraternities and sororities, you will have a designated driver, and it's usually someone that's underage, and they get stuck with answering all the phone calls and picking folks up. So this was, and I'm not going to disclose what fraternity, but this was someone, a student that picked them up and dropped them off, who had been signed to be the DD for the Greek system, that night. So that is, there you go.
Floofs,
We
can
don't know
you
who the
talk about?
DoorDasher is because, we don't know who they are.
They did say it was a male, and they were cleared though. They
They
did
did.
say
They said
that
it's
a
a male and
long
it's
time ago.
correct. It's a male. They're cleared. They have not released their name. And I mean, rightfully so, because if you just see all the harassment that's happened, I mean, thank God they didn't release that poor kid's name.
I know. Like, seriously, you guys are going after this Emma girl. We don't even know if she ever worked for DoorDash.
And this
Right.
Emma girl's
Bring
cousin,
up,
because he had an
They're going
alarm
after
show.
survivors
yeah.
to some degree.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
it
like you
was.
Yeah.
would think that people would have learned after attacking Jack and everything else. Like, when does it click with you that we should really just stick with the facts? Like, there is speculation and theory, and there is just spreading misinformation like wildfire. And they know that they're spreading misinformation like wildfire, and they just don't care. Pretty much what it is.
Right. And even if they say it's theory, think y'all, and I think this is what we call it, the telephone theory. Then it gets worse because it travels, and then other people misstate what was already misstated, and it just gets worse, and it snowballs. And then what was originally said that was the theory that was off is even more so just trashed, in my opinion. And I think that's what they call the telephone theory.
And let's bring up the WSU mom, Kim, and the other moms. Now,
Oh boy.
I know Kim was already proven
Brian's
debunked.
favorite.
Like, not even she wasn't even a mom of a student or something like she's not, nothing she said was factual.
She does not have a student. She does not have a child that's a student at WSU.
Right. So all that information that you guys took in from Kim, and you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, we got to go look into all this stuff. This rug situation is really true.
And by the way,
People
Kim,
like to do this in these kind of cases. They get off on letting other people go crazy with their theories.
Yeah, I just want to say too, I've been fighting with Kim since I think early December on the group that went from somewhat useful to being completely trash on Facebook. And I have those receipts because she followed the same rhetoric as far as who she was and how she was connected and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But those theories that she was spitting out initially, and Floofs, you're going to know this because you're local, right? But I mean, she was at first accusing Christchurch and Doug Wilson, and she was accusing Jack and Jake, and she ran everyone through before she ended up being on Drunken Turkey. You know, so I've been following that for a long time, and I have all those receipts. I got all
And now
those.
they have a new mom that came on Drunken Turkey and Truth and Transparency. They do not vet their sources. They hear a crazy story and they're like, oh, we got to get this on. People got to hear this. And then you guys start thinking it's real, and it's not factual.
There was one mom, and I can't remember which one it was, but one that had a student that was like, I've seen it, and my child got the alert earlier than the time they're saying, like, y'all, I got the alert. Like, I work for the university. I can verify when it went out. Like, that's not true. Like, not true. You know? It
The
was
rumor
104.
started about
104
Emma because
p.m.
people looked her up, and she was just recently charged. And that's what people like to do. They just like to strew things together. Dimitri is her boyfriend. Do you want to clear it up?
104 p.m. 104 p.m. No. But real quickly, you guys, it's 104 p.m. is when the text alert went out, the vandal alert, just so you guys know. Okay,
Thank
sorry,
you.
man. That's another one that people have been like a lot of misinformation about. 1:04 p.m. to every single student and faculty member on any of the campuses.
But to be fair about the confusion about that, because I think I was in the live where that confusion started, is somebody who lives there got into the live and first said that the vandal alert came out at 1:30 and then said 11:30, which bam, all people had to hear was that, and they clung to it, and it was, oh well, see, it was 11:30 and da 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 blah 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 blah. But she misspoke, and I don't know
She
what was
did.
going on.
She did
Elsie,
misspeak.
where are you saying students said there's no students that said 10 a.m.? Like,
Yeah, the 10 a.m. is an over exaggeration. Morgan, who's sometimes in here, and she said, "Hey, I was absolutely wrong." She got a screenshot of when she got it and checked the time. It was actually 8:30 a.m. verified.
yeah,
I hope you're joking, Dahlia, because
she came forward. I remember hearing her come forward
yeah,
and say, like, I was wrong
we
about the
talked about it.
time.
Yeah, we messaged back and forth about it as well privately. Yeah, and that was I misspoke. But
Right.
again, people hear little things like that and then do run with it, unfortunately.
And that's
Yeah.
probably what it is. They heard that little bit and then got out of the live and they're like, oh my God, it's true. It's true. Like, it's not true. We later got out of her that it's not true. She
And then,
And
misspoke. She made a
she
mistake.
misspoke. Yeah, correct.
yeah, then what about the Dylan is trans? That whole BS. Because
Because
that's
she's
when,
tall.
I want to
but
find
that's
the
just
person that
it.
started
This
that.
is where we start diverging into misogyny and transphobia and that stuff. I wrote an article for Medium about the misogyny involved in this case and how people are more willing to pick apart the roommates than the suspect. And well, it must be because there were women who were victims and the other women, and Dylan looked this way, so she must have been jealous. And this is part of the reason why people think the roommates are involved. It's pure misogyny. They think, oh, they must not have gotten along because women and bitches be crazy. And that's where stuff like that
And
starts.
meanwhile, they all took pictures together and like were fine that day a few
Yep.
hours before. Like,
Yep.
it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, for the people that are questioning it even more, I did even verify with other colleagues at different campuses and everything. We all got the alert at the same fucking time.
And can I just
1:04
say one
p.m.
off-topic thing is, since I was accused of it earlier, not to talk about myself, but I really do wish that now I knew how to. I wish I did know how to do hexes. That's all I'm saying. I really wish that I truly did know how to do them. But that's all.
I'm with. I think we both want that. I think we both have that feeling.
I
I,
was
I
like, are you serious right now? Like, and that's what showed me some people, like, because they don't like the side of truth or they have a personal problem, they'd rather spread misinformation.
yeah.
Time out. I got to stop real quick, guys. Dahlia, you may have heard it for yourself on a YouTube live, but that information that you heard was not correct. So
Right.
if you would like to argue with me, you are more than welcome to. I'm going to stop. Everybody, I can confirm
No, I
the
wanted
text was
you
sent
to.
out at 1:04 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do also have two campuses in the mountain region who received it at 2:04 their time, which was the same time. So you guys may have heard different times at different places. I am telling you that is incorrect information. Over.
Yeah. And by the way, that goes to Floops. I don't know if it was you or
I,
Kristen that said people will take information they hear once and never question it
right.
and regurgitate it. Right. And that's
Hmm.
the danger in this. It's
Just
cyclical.
like Brandy,
And
I
and
think
and
that
and,
that's what she's
and real
doing.
quick again, yeah. And she's saying she's not arguing. It was a frat guy that said he got it from the survivor. So that is again, and kind of just
Hearsay.
misinterpreting. That's misinterpreting the information as well. The 1:04 p.m. alert is the vandal alert from the university that went out that told everybody to basically get in a safe place, like shelter, stay where you are, shit's going down.
Oh
That
man.
is what we're talking about. There, as far as what roommates may or may not have sent out, none of that has been confirmed. That is absolutely hearsay. A lot of fraternity and sorority members have tried to insert themselves to get on the news and to be important. And so there's a lot of
Shocker.
misinformation. And so I hear you when you say that you have heard that. That is not confirmed, and the band alert is something different.
Right.
Oh,
And the whole Emma's boyfriend's cousin drove the same type of car. That was proven not true. The house was sold. Like it doesn't match up. It was not.
that
I'm
that
glad you
same
addressed
comment,
that
Mindy.
because I was about to.
Please, can
Yeah.
you
And as
address it
far
better
as
than me? I'm trying to catch up, and I'm just like,
I
like
know,
this is
me
what I
too.
mean.
I'm
With
looking at the
Is that
I
comments.
is
love you
that
guys, everyone, but this is what we mean. Like you guys hear something, and you're like, oh my god, this is really what's happening, and it's not. And the problem
Hey,
is the
Mindy, write this one
creators.
down because it needs to be addressed down the road. It
Okay,
says, talking about the boyfriend's cousin drove the same type of car.
that's
It
the
also says,
comment I'm
plus,
talking about.
Brian was the cleaner, which I heard for the first time yesterday in the form of a question. I can't remember the creator's name, but she was a real brat. So, anyway, you might want to write that one down and we can address that one too.
No, I
Brian,
think we
don't
need to
call
address that now because
names.
that's the one I was looking at. Let's
Oh, no,
address it
that's
now.
her name.
Oh,
Yeah.
Please don't
So
thought that I knew her or
I
something.
saw
She's
that
my
comment
aunt.
and I wanted to also remember, and I know people cringe when I say this, but a lot of people are like minded. If Brian is the person, remember, innocent until proven guilty. So,
Brandy. Those
but yeah,
two.
that goes back to the rugs and those theories, and a lot of communities have those kinds of problems. It's not related,
Right.
and the car was debunked.
And Brandy, I just want to say those two specific creators that you're naming are known to spread tons of information. That's how they get their follows and their views and their likes. So that's why we're having this whole live tonight, is because of content creators like that that use misinformation just to get further in their little TikTok journey or their YouTube journey or whatever they're doing. And we are not like that here. I'd rather have less views and less followers by sticking to just the facts.
and I'll be
Right.
honest,
This
I
is
would.
just to address those theories and the facts that have been found to debunk that they're true. So,
Right.
People seem to have a very hard time believing. And I'll say this, in the beginning, I absolutely thought it was more than one person because I thought logistically, how is this possible? But once I heard about his background and I thought, oh, he hates women. Oh no, he could totally have done that.
Yeah.
It like automatically I just bought it. And I think a lot of people are having trouble conceiving that a man could have such rage that he could kill three women
Yeah.
and a man.
And likely,
absolutely.
and while probably three of them are sleeping, right? I mean, think about that.
Very true.
You have the upper hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
There was
I
this week
understand
of
it.
mine.
People don't want to believe it. Like, people don't want to think that this one monster who doesn't even look like a monster could do these things so fast. But
Like, can I just say one thing about that? Riddle me this, y'all. Riddle me fucking this. If there could possibly be another person involved, do you think that all of the FBI involved, the Idaho State Police, the Latah County Police, like, do you think that they would just be like, okay, cool, bye, everybody, like, good luck? No. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Killer
right?
Killer B Tactical is at the minute the suspect was arrested and people were saying, "Do you think there's two people?" He said, and this is a former detective, and he said, "No, because if they thought there was someone else involved, they would have waited to arrest both because
Correct. And yep, exactly.
absolutely.
And like and you're gonna know too, right? Like, and the about the who Sarah said a really good comment. You're gonna know about the knife wounds. I mean, you can study knife wounds and look at if someone was left-handed, right-handed, right? Like, you can even look at, like, oh, they're probably really angry, and with the velocity and this and that, and they know the order of the victims based on basically the blood transfer, from one to another. And so again, I think that there would probably be quite a big difference, right? With wounding and all of that. Like, I just think if there are more people involved, we would absolutely have a clue by now. They wouldn't let our community just freaking leave our doors unlocked. Like, I don't lock my doors still, y'all. Like, whatever, come get me. It is what it is. But like, it's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling because they're continuing to bring and drag other people into this who have absolutely nothing to do with it for no effing reason, right?
Oh, they have a reason.
Well,
They
for
have a
some
reason.
reason.
Like, it's not a
Sorry,
good reason, but that
I'm
they're
getting
the
spot.
reason is literally for more views and more followers and more clicks. Like, that is why they're doing it. It's not about the integrity of the case. It's not about the integrity of
You
And
the
know,
when it's a
reputation.
DP,
there's
if it's a DP
Right.
case, don't you think for him to get that off the table if anybody else was involved, I'm pretty sure he would have talked by now to get that taken off the table as well. Like,
Right.
there's just, if you think about it logically, it just, these theories don't make fucking sense.
Or that we might have heard of another suspect by now, like that they wouldn't have,
Yeah.
He
you
also
know.
Sorry, I got fired up. I'm
No,
sorry for
you're
getting like
good. I like
passionate.
when
I'm
you're
sorry,
fired
guys.
up.
I need to breathe.
I like
he
when you're fired up.
he
I
also
woke up and chose violence and researched the fuck out of everything. Like every student's death, every overdose that we've had in the county. Like,
Yeah.
I chose violence this morning with information.
Well, I was looking up earlier today, like how many people commit a murder and jump state. And that's more common than you think because people think if they jump state, they're going to get away with it. On a daily basis, they have to extradite people from state to state for murder charges. That's what it is. How many times do you see 60 FBI agents surrounding them and having their own private plane and their own freaking vest and helmet? Like, they knew who they were going to get. They knew who did it. They know they didn't just do this on a whim.
And I bet when everything comes out, we will probably learn that there was a very tactical following of him cross country. They probably have been watching him since merely days after it had happened. I think we're gonna learn a lot more, aka that the police and law enforcement were competent of doing their jobs in this case. I can jump off. There was somebody that said they have a really good point that they wanted to make.
Yeah, but she said she didn't want to get in the box. It was Megan P. She
Oh,
said,
don't
we
want to
have
get in the
such
box.
little
Okay.
information compared to the information they have. We have a
Absolutely.
sliver. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I think it was Steph that was saying it, and she's a defense attorney. And she knows, like, we only are seeing right now, at very best, a tenth of the evidence that they have. And I know people were also speculating, oh, why hasn't prosecution turned over the evidence to the defense yet? Honestly, probably because why would they? I'd probably wait till the last minute too. Maybe that's a strategy for them. Like, why is that suspicious?
Speaking of that, like
And we don't know.
talking to defense, do we need to debunk the whole like Bethany refused to talk to people? Do we need
Yeah.
to debunk that? Does anybody want
Yes.
to talk about that?
Yes. Who wants to talk about that one? I think we
And you
should.
didn't have to talk to him to begin with, right?
Correct. Legally, she does not have to as a
Right.
witness.
It
Like, she
wasn't the
does not have
prosecution.
to
It
talk.
wasn't the state that was a subpoena. You know, that did the subpoena. It was the defense. So I don't. That never made sense to me. There was a motion. It went through. She didn't have to appear. I think what they agreed on is that they would fly to her and she would provide a statement,
Right.
basically.
Correct. And it is. And Steph talked about it on one of her lives, and it was a really good point. She's like, what it seems like to me is that they were kind of trying, and a couple of other lawyers have mentioned this as well, as it seemed as though possibly, and again, I don't want to put anything in any of their mouths, that they might have been trying to stronghold Bethany into giving them some information by trying to subpoena her to bring her back for the prelim, which would obviously re-traumatize her. And then that was why she agreed to have them go to Nevada, which again, think about that, you guys. She left and has not come back to school.
Yeah.
Crazy mom. Yes, that's what we were just talking about. We only know, at best, a tenth of the information and the evidence that they have against him.
Well, and I think that's why, like going to motive, what we talked about a little bit ago, I think those things go hand in hand, is that people want it to make sense. And we live in a very on-demand culture where they're like, I need it to make sense right now. And that's why they make up these outlandish theories. They're doing it on limited information, to her point. and then trying to fill in the gaps. And by the way, even when all the information is presented and we have it all, guess what, guys? It's still not going to make sense that this guy came in and did this, because these kind of things never make sense.
Mm-hmm. We're never gonna have all the information. That's the thing. We're never
That's
gonna
true.
have all of it.
Yeah. By the way, okay, one more thing. Motives, because I said motives. I heard today on someone's video, wasn't on the live, that the motive was, that, like, she said that she had gotten someone off who had been convicted of unaliving someone, and he didn't do it, which I think is fantastic. I think that's great. We all fight for that. We've seen it with Shreve, with Peachy.
Right. We talked about that here. Like, I was kind of offended when they said that, because I was like, wait a minute.
I live in Arkansas, West Memphis 3. We've been talking about it. Obviously, that's a big one.
Yep.
With three people who were wrongfully convicted. However, that was after the fact, when everyone had all the information, and in light of the evidence, it was very apparent that these guys didn't do it, right? And so, don't say that that's what this is about, because it's not. It really is, to me, about prolonging the story, because that's what journalists do, right?
Yep.
Is they take a story and they try to prolong that story or make another story, because that's what they live on.
Yeah. And I felt like that, like, they knew what they were doing too, because, like, when we try to tell them, like, hey, listen, this is just, let's not do that. Like, this isn't correct. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we're telling you the misinformation and you're acting like you're not hearing us. I don't know. It was very weird and gaslit. The whole situation was very odd. And it's mind-boggling to me that people would rather continue on with lies to gain clout than handle this with integrity and grace.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here, to hopefully steer you guys in another direction, to have an open mind, and be unbiased, and look at the facts, which are about none. Right now we have very little, haven't even scratched the surface. So when we do have the facts and things do start coming out, that will be a good time to really start looking at things, but again, based on what we know and the facts that we're giving.
One thing I wanted to say is, well, I do think that some of this is, quote unquote, just for clicks. I do think that these are theories, and I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but I do think that they think that these theories are plausible. And listen, that's okay. Like, they're allowed to think whatever they want to think. That's perfectly fine. But when someone pushes back and says, but what about this? And then suddenly you're blocked, or suddenly you're harassing somebody, or suddenly you're being a bully.
Yeah.
You're the bully because you're stating misinformation, and how dare you speak up about that? I think people should be allowed to have their theories. If it doesn't matter if I agree with it. I'm not an arbiter of any, but at the very least, like, allow someone to, if you're going to have that theory, I think somebody said it earlier, you better come correct. Like, you better know your facts, and if someone challenges that, you have to, that's just part of a public discourse.
Right.
But yes, I'm so glad you said that.
Like, once the facts actually come out, you don't double down on it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, but it's still possible, but it's still plausible. Like, no, it's not. And it's not helping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and we talked about this last night too, that there are theories or there's speculation based on the facts that we have, and then there's just speculation based on what we don't have, right? And that's where I think, personally, I think there's room for any of that. There's room for speculation. Again, we're not trying to solve a case here, right? We're discussing cases. And that's not to make, little of people like Floofs who are living that reality, because that's not lost on me either. But I'm fine with those as long as it's stated as such. We don't know this, but Is it possible that it's this, right? I just think that it's miles away from what like Body was doing the other day with dissecting the 166 page document that was dropped.
Yeah, that to me is
To
theorizing.
ask questions, and that's theorizing, but not outlandish, right? Because it's not based on what we don't know. It's not, hey, we don't know this, so let's just fill the hole with a bunch of crap.
And I understand wanting information, right? Like that's our brains naturally want to fill the gaps of information. That's just how, human creatures operate. But so the reason why there's a gag order is to not taint the jury pool, right? So that there is a fair and just trial on both sides. And so the more information that's released, and it baffles me when I am scrolling through and I see, strangers across the country saying, we deserve to know. We deserve to have this information. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah,
You know
why
what I
would
mean? The families deserve a fair trial. The victims deserve a fair trial. He does as well, right? Like on all sides. The seeking out and then the need again, it's that natural human instinct to want to have information. But when that need to find information hurts others, I think that's when we need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves a little bit.
absolutely. It's just frustrating because, I mean, it's not like we're saying, oh, people can't have their First Amendment right and say what they want to say or feel how they want to feel. But this is different. This is not, what's being done is not theorizing. It's really not. It is just perpetuating misinformation.
The other problem with it is, and I've seen it on this app, is, people, this vigilante justice on this app is really unsettling, and this app just doesn't do anything about it, and that's very unsettling. And I typically see the worst of it being thrown at women, right? Like if you want to
Yes.
talk vigilante justice, it's people going after women, and just you don't know what they're going to do off that app. And people think, oh no, they won't. Trust me when I tell you that if you don't know what you're putting out there, you don't know the ripple effect. You
Right.
don't know like how that's going to affect somebody else or what somebody's going to do.
That's what I mean. Like they were the speculations that they were speculating, the theories that they were theorizing, we're making it look like Kaylee was a rug dealer or involved in it somehow.
Yeah.
And they didn't feel any consequence from that. They didn't understand how that could be wrong at all. Like, oh, it's a good theory. No, it's really not, because there are tons of facts to disprove that. But because it sounds good in a story, that's why it seems like a good theory. And
It,
that's like there's no morals behind it.
it's not even just morals. There's no critical thinking behind it. Like if you want to say you want to say she's involved with rugs, tell me why. Give me a give me a reason that's based in either like fact or close enough fact. Why do you think that? I don't want to hear like because or oh that's a rug house or that. No, give me a reason to believe to consider this, and I will consider it.
Right.
Absolutely, that's the whole point of discourse. But it's if you can't back it up effectively, it's just words, and you're just saying shit to say it.
Right.
Exactly. And I mean, they did the same thing with Dylan, like the same rug dealer accusations. They did a Dylan in the very beginning and that she must be involved and, that she's, a transaction. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, I've got to jump. It's Mother's Day, and I got a wife here that I need to pay better attention to. So I'm gonna jump off real quick.
Bye.
Thank
Have a
Sure
good
But I
you.
just
night.
Have
want to
a
say
great
goodnight
night.
because
Tell her we
Mindy
said
threatens
Happy
to block
Mother's
me if I
Day.
leave without saying goodbye. I will, Peachy. I'll tell her.
Yes, let her
Thank
know
you.
that happy
And
Mother's
happy
Bye.
Mother's
Day.
Day to all of y'all
Bye.
mamas.
Appreciate you,
Have a nice
Brian.
Thank
night.
Have a
you.
good
You
night.
too.
Have a good night.
Anyone else has a few cents they want to add, you are more than welcome to jump up here.
Yeah, and I want to say this again. I know I've said it many times, but the things I have seen, God forbid, I be put in a situation where I am falsely accused of a crime, and I would be very concerned about a jury of my peers if it's people like the people I see on TikTok, and I'll just say that much.
Right. Sherry, I don't know what you mean by your question. Maybe reword it. I don't know what you were saying. This is frustrating, guys. And I feel like, I don't know. The live that was created today was just created to perpetuate drama, and it wasn't even about the
There was a
case.
live.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there was. So Kim asked a question, just curious, was BK the only one involved? We don't have any reason to think that there was anybody else right now. Anybody else want to comment on that too?
BK is
There's
the only
no
one that they have arrested as the suspect in the case, and law enforcement has confirmed they're not looking for any other suspects, and that
Right.
is on the Moscow PD website.
I wanted to touch base on that for a second. I think people like to think that there is a secondary person because they can't imagine in this short of time all of this happening. But you gotta remember that it is speculated that at least a couple of them were sleeping, for one. And I just want you guys to sit and think for a second about a jailhouse, okay? Think of how fast something along these lines happens in there. Like, if they want to get something done, they're going to be in and out, and you're never, well, I shouldn't say never, but you don't even realize it happened until so much longer later, because it happens that fast. So it is very, very, very possible for someone to go in there and get 4 people all at once. If
Yeah,
you just think of the fact of thinking about in a jailhouse and how quick that can go.
and adrenaline
Absolutely.
also plays a huge role in this. And people, there's a, we don't think of murderers as having fight or flight, but they do,
Yeah.
because at any moment they could be caught. So, and the brain doesn't know the difference. So that fight or flight kicks in, and everything becomes heightened, and we become far more capable of things when we're in that fight or flight, depending on how we react to fight or flight.
Yep.
So that adrenaline, he had more strength, he had more his vision was different. Everything was kicked up a bunch of notches.
Yeah,
And
and
I
people, oh, I'm sorry, keep going.
Ashley, we're not sure yet. We're unsure really what that says in the affidavit, whether it was his ID or someone else's ID. That's what we're going to have to wait for the trial for. This
It
is
said
one thing.
it
Nobody
said
is going to have breaking
it
news.
No, and the breaking news about the ID was not breaking news. That was just some creator must have gone and looked at basically the list of what they found, like fucking 3 months too late or something, and just like
Yeah.
didn't get the memo when it was actually released, and then all of a sudden,
I
like
was going to say,
people
we
like
talked about
latched
it when
on
it
to
happened.
that. Yeah, and people latched on to that. It does there. I mean, there is some talk with the handwriting of whether it says 10 IDs or 1 ID or like whatever, but
Hmm.
that was just the info they got. We have no idea what kind of ID it was. Also, about the clearing of the DoorDash driver, there was someone that dropped in, like, the DoorDash driver isn't cleared on the Moscow PD website. You can go back and look at the interview that Captain Fry did. It is recorded. It was the first one that he did, talking about cleared suspects. And
Hmm.
they did say at that time the DoorDash driver was cleared. He
Yes.
said that in multiple interviews, which you can find on YouTube. So there might just be some kind of they just, fluke that they didn't add it or something along those lines. But Chief Fry has said multiple times the DoorDash driver was in fact cleared. And you can look that up via YouTube.
it's very scary to think that a person could be capable of this. And so our brain just likes to make sense of stuff. But it's terrifying to think that this random person could be capable of such rage. So I do get why people want to think, well, it had to be more than one, because they really don't want to think that it's capable for someone to be that rageful, of one person being that rageful. That's a very scary thought.
Mm-hmm. And somebody's mentioning the website, still looking for other victims. I think the reason the website is still up there asking for more tips is because until this case is over, if there's any tip about Brian or the case or anything, they're gonna want that. It's not because
They said that
necessarily there's another suspect out there. It's because people don't necessarily come forward that day.
And another thing I wanted to bring about is I don't necessarily remember exactly how many were confirmed or not confirmed to have defensive wounds. But when people hear defensive wounds, they automatically think someone fought back. And that's just not, it's not true in every single case. So defensive wounds can be passive or active. Passive meaning they're in a sense defending themselves, but it's blocking themselves, blocking their, per se their chest or their face or their stomach. And they're not fighting back in a sense to that they're actually attacking this person, but they are fighting back in a way to protect themselves. So they might not be physically fighting this person, but yes, it's a defensive wound because they were defending themselves. So I want people to keep that in mind as well, because just because we hear defensive wounds does not mean that they were attacking back at this person, trying to get the knife away or trying to get him off, or we don't know any of that. Just keep that in mind. And also running away or anything like that and you get hit in the back, that is also a defensive wound. So there are lots of things that qualify under this category here. But I think that people just want to latch on. They hear that one word and they're like, oh, they fought back. They fought back. They fought back. We just don't know that. We really don't know that.
Kathleen, they did not redact the clearing of the DoorDash driver. The DoorDash driver was cleared.
Did anybody hear there was a line on Ted Lasso, and I don't know what season it was, but I just saw it on TikTok. And they said that statistically people are less likely to defend themselves at 4 a.m. And when I heard that, I was like, I immediately thought of this case and I went and researched it. And that's true.
Kathleen or Catherine, were you
That's
aware
interesting.
that their name is not on the cleared list? But the chief has come out in multiple interviews saying the DoorDash driver was cleared. That's one of the big rumors that we addressed tonight, that it's not a plausible rumor. It's not factual. The
and you
DoorDash
can
driver
again
was
you can
clear. The DoorDash driver was a male.
correct, and you can go and look at the Chief Fry interview, suspects cleared, on YouTube. Yeah, the list was made after the interview is the issue. I understand, but I mean, it could have been a typo, but they
Yeah,
have stated multiple times that he was cleared.
right. They're not going to state it unless that's the case. They're not going to.
And if it was in fact that he wasn't cleared and they misspoke, I truly believe that, like we mentioned before, they would be arresting these people at the same time.
Correct, and they have not listed everyone that was cleared on the website. Not
Right.
everybody cleared is listed on the website. And a big reason for that is some of the names were left off intentionally so people wouldn't have been harassed. So, I mean, just think about this with your critical mind. Maybe they left this poor DoorDash driver off there so all these quote unquote sleuths wouldn't dig into everything about them and like blast them out when they actually had nothing to do with it. Like, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's why it's intentionally left off of the website. Does that make sense? Or am I just have had too
No, it
many
makes sense.
probiotics? Okay.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you could email Las Vegas and ask them, that'd be real great. Let me know.
Yeah, I doubt they will though. Like
Oh, I
there's
thought you were being sarcastic, but you really are. Okay.
I mean, there is a gag order, so
Well, the kids, how do I say this? I know other people that were also cleared and their names are not on there. And the
right.
reason why is because they don't want their names released to the public. So Las Vegas, that would be my 99.9% confident guess, since I personally know other people that have been cleared that are not on there.
And I think that's the case in a lot of
Gag
cases.
order does not include the public website. That's a good point. Because it's no one's business if they're cleared. Yeah, do we have to know that? That's a question I don't know the answer to.
What's that?
Like, they don't have to tell us he's been cleared. It's not our business, right? Like, they don't owe
Right.
that to us.
As far as I understand it, no, they don't have to tell us.
No one implied that the gag order applied to anyone here. That's kind of a confusing statement, but okay.
Maybe because I said I wouldn't say names, but I'm just not going to dox people in my community. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, Nikki, they're not going to put everyone that was cleared on the list. Right.
Any other like legit questions or anything that people have heard that they wanted to maybe have cleared up? And again, if we don't know the answers, we'll let you know that. Has anyone thought the neighbor's ring cam may have vital footage? Yes, I do personally.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
It has all the vital footage. Yes.
The trial begins. The preliminary is in June,
In June, yeah. So the May
but then
22nd is the gag order. I believe it's the
mhm.
22nd. I know they shifted it, but I think it's still the 22nd now. But that's the clarification of the gag order per the request of Kaylee's lawyer, just so you guys are aware of that. And then the prelim will be in June. Trial could be years later. Who knows?
Yeah, the trial, it can, once we get the prelim, it's going to be a while again before we go into trial. They're going to want to take all the time that they need.
M
Yeah, I
stated, I
think
think it.
there's also info like, oh, they're moving the prelim because like whatever people don't have info. You guys with the prelim, they actually give like a window of dates. So that's like the people are like have like quoted different dates within that window, and that's just how things go, I guess, in Idaho.
M states, I think it may show him, not just his car. I believe she's talking about the neighbor footage. I personally think, and of course it's just speculation, I have no proof. I think that when he was circling so many times, I think they for sure have license plates.
Mm.
Because it wasn't on the front of the car, no, but they were on the car, I believe. That's me speculating here, and I think that is one thing that they did catch.
I can assure you that there are many cameras on campus, many ring cameras
Yep.
in the neighborhood. That the route, I mean, they're fairly confident in the route he drove. That is also for a reason. Think about, why would they be so confident and put out the route if they didn't probably have other footage? And again, this is me speculating. So this is allegedly, this is me guessing. But I have driven in that area, worked and lived in that area, and I can tell you there are a ton of cameras, a ton.
I remember somebody bringing up the point, and I think it was a creator who's very sort of conspiracy-ish, but I thought it was a good point where she said, "Why wouldn't he have like cased the scene to know where all the cameras were?" And I thought that's a really good question. And the rest is
Did,
both.
which is He did, which is why he drove the back way. So he cased the scene, which is why when he drove there, he went on the Moscow Pullman Highway because at every single stoplight there is a camera. Also, when you come in that way, there's like a big mall, and we have a ton of cameras around campus and all the businesses. So the other way, aside from like directly the neighborhood behind the house, everything else kind of in that back area is just farmland. There's no cameras at all until you get right back into Pullman city limits, which is when they caught him back on the camera. And the prelim
Thank you,
people are asking
Sojo.
about that. Yeah, the prelim Sojo people are asking. The prelim is just like if he pleads guilty, not guilty. So and Sojo dropped that in there.
Sojo
So
got it.
please scroll through. Yeah, Sojo's got it. Scroll through and read Sojo's comment. She knows. For the people asking about the grand jury, Steph is a defense attorney on here, great creator, and she's done videos about, why it might and probably won't and grand jury stuff. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to speak to that. But if anybody else in the boxes wants to, you're more than welcome to about the grand jury stuff and if it would do that.
The preliminary. Oh, so what is it? The arraignment that we're having? Or I thought it was the prelim. I thought he already had his arraignment. I'm confused. I know the trial's not for another year. And I thought, isn't it the prelim that's coming up? Am I confused?
Prelim
It
is
is,
in June.
yeah.
And okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Sorry,
The arraignment, yeah, and
sorry,
he pled
arraignment is when you plead
non-guilty
guilty.
for his
I
arraignment.
misspoke. I misspoke. My apologies. I'm
Oh, okay.
sorry.
I was like, wait.
That was 100% my bad.
Okay. I was like, wait, I thought I got it right.
Probiotics, sorry.
It's okay. I get it. I get it.
But I own it when I misspeak. I misspoke.
Yeah, it happens. We all do it. We all
But
do it.
also, I mean, like
We
Google
do.
prelim,
We
and
all
you guys
do
can
it.
find
But
out
we
what a
correct
prelim is.
ourselves.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Prelim is showing evidence. But, even don't read those comments. Just like Google it, you guys. Do some research. Find out what a prelim is.
Mm.
Right? No?
But I think we will find out more in June. We won't find out a ton more. Like, y'all are gonna have to wait till the trial. But there will be a few things that we learned that we didn't know. But nothing that you've heard in the last few weeks from anybody saying breaking news. Like, let's clear that up. Nothing that any TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Poopygram, I don't know what other app. None of them
Yeah,
have
I
found
mean, I think
any
everybody needs to prepare themselves to not know a whole lot of anything for a year or more, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, that it is just what it is, I think.
Yeah, the prelim is like a mini trial. So we'll find out a little bit, but we're the juice of it, the meat of it, we're not going to get till the trial.
Yes, they legally they are honoring his vegan diet in jail. They are, yes.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're really
It
honoring it.
came from Sojo wanted to know where the grand jury, where that popped up, where that came from.
Yeah,
So there
let's
was
get
just
that.
some circulation around TikTok that there was a possibility that it would go to the grand jury
I think
instead.
it was lawyer Lori that was talking about it, of like reasons where it could go that way or how it could go that way. There were a few people that were talking about it, but I don't think they said it was for sure going to happen. They just said it is a possibility.
Yeah.
Again, we have no idea. Does anybody have questions about the tearing down of the house? Because I can answer that and where we're at. If anybody has questions about that, but there hasn't been a lot of misinformation. I don't think we're clear on that one.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I guess that plan would be, what is the update on that or the plan of that and when that's going to happen? So I'd like you to, Flukes, if you want to, I don't know how many people are in here that know about the tulips. But if you want to kind of bring that up too for
By the
Ethan,
way,
I think
okay,
that
I
would
will.
just be great.
Someone named Matthew just said BK was working at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Pocatello when the crime occurred. That's not true. But okay, so that's incorrect information. I just
Yeah,
wanted to highlight that.
that is one of the
Yeah,
reasons we are having the live tonight is because of the spread of misinformation. So Matt, that
Right,
yeah,
absolutely.
is very incorrect.
That's what this is all about.
Yep. And so the university now owns the house. The landlord did turn it over to the university. The university paid for a second cleaning to go through the house to try to um, what's the word I'm looking for? Sterilize items for the families to get. Once that was done, there we were going to remove those items that were sanitized enough for the families to then go through. The house has been requested per the students to be torn down as soon as possible. A big reason for that is that there is a constant presence of media outside of the house. For example, this entire graduation weekend, they were there, saying that, two of these victims should have been graduating this weekend, that kind of thing. So it has been a magnet for outsiders in the community. Our local hotel here there's literally been media that has not left since. It's been 6 months.
So people
And
need to
the
put a little
house,
thought into that, because if the media has so little to talk about that that's what they're doing, there clearly is no breaking news that's factual.
correct.
So
Yeah.
like,
And then they've also the media has hurt Mad Greek's business. They did have to modify their business hours because they could not afford to stay open, just the main hours, because of the constant media presence outside of the restaurant, which then would prevent people from wanting to dine there. I was eating there at one point, and media came up to me at my table and tried to interview me because I was like one of the only ones in there. I've been very open. That was when Nancy Grace came in, like screaming about the music. There was like techno music playing, and she's like, "Oh God, I'm sure this is why the girls loved working here," like implying they were naughty. But back to the house. Back to the house. So the house, after all of the items that were viable were removed, we were going to proceed with not the university was going to proceed. You all know I work there, so when I say we, I mean the university was going to move forward and proceed with demolishing the house. And then one of the families had asked us to hold off for a hot second, and they wanted us just to triple check that it was not needed in any way, shape, or form. So although the university has already had approval from prosecution, defense, as well as the judge to demolish the house and that it is not needed, we are university is circling back to do that again. Extensive 3D imaging has been done in the house, and what we know at this point is that both sides have gathered whatever they do need from inside the house, and then we will proceed with demolishing it. The Vandal Healing Gardens, that is something that people have discussed, and a lot of TikTok creators have been like up in arms about if the healing garden would be where the house is or that it should be there. And again, strangers to the community, just a heads up, you guys, the students in the landscape and architecture program, as well as any other students that want to be involved, are the ones that are choosing the location, they're choosing the layout, they're doing the design themselves, they're going to be doing the planting. So
gotcha.
yes, and so wherever and whatever location is chosen, that is going to be up to our student body. And
As it
input from
should be.
strangers is not necessarily needed, no offense. So that's where we're at with
It should
that.
be up to the students and only the students, honestly.
I agree.
That's the perfect, those are the perfect people to choose that.
Yes.
It affected
So
them.
correct. So we will be proceeding forward with that. But again, that's in the students' hands, and they're, taking time. They're putting together committees, and they're doing this to also have an opportunity to heal. They lost friends and whatnot. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Is that helpful?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you so much. And then
No problem.
the tulip fields. Ethan, can you
Oh
just touch
yeah.
base on that too for everyone who may not be aware of that?
Yeah, I would love to. So, the Chapins they're incredible people. And for those of you that don't know, Ethan did work at a Tulip Valley farm in Mount Vernon, where he is from. And after his murder, one of the students who also worked with him, his name is Reese, he asked the owner, "Hey, I'd really love to create a tulip blend in honor of Ethan." And they said, "Heck yeah." So, really just enabling, whoever wants to create something to honor him, to heal. Everybody's really been embracing that. And so, sorry if you're yawning. Oh, is Mindy, are
No,
you tired of me?
No,
Oh,
no, no,
Shannon said,
no. I'm
oh, sorry.
sorry.
I saw Shannon say I'm yawning. I'm like, am I boring you guys?
I'm
Because I can
hiding
shut
my
up. I'm so
face.
sorry.
I'm
Am
not
I
yawning.
boring everybody?
Guys, I'm sorry. Can I just jump in for a sec? I have to go take a dog outside. But this has been great, and thank you so much for having me on. And if I come back upstairs and you're still here, I'll hop into the comments.
Chris,
I
Thank
thank you
appreciate
so
you.
you for
much.
being here,
Thank you
Thank you
Kristen.
guys
so,
Thank you
Thank
so
you
so
much.
so much.
We appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
And I know the tulips aren't as enticing as like a murder, however, but whatever. So anyways, so they started a blend called Ethan Smile, which is yellow and white. And so the yellow is actually the color of where he went to high school. So his high school color. The white is, and then also yellow and white is the Vandals. And then he had an also smile, hence Ethan Smile. After that, they also asked, can we make another mix to honor the girls? So there's also a mix called Forever Sisters. So you can buy either of those on the Tulip Valley website. There's also merch. And Ethan's family, they have started a foundation called the Ethan Smile Foundation, where they are raising money to provide scholarships for students in their county to attend college. So they were actually just gifted two students. One of them was Reese, who came up with the Ethan Smile blend. So he got one of the scholarships, and then the other one is a student who's going to be going to the University of Idaho. Um, we had an event at the Tulip Farm to raise money for Ethan Smile Foundation. Yes, tulips do come back every year. So you plant the bulbs in the fall. You guys can pre-order them if you want right now, and they will come to you end of September time frame is what they've said to plant.
They're called
So yes,
perennials. Those are the flowers that
correct.
come
Thank
back
you.
every year. Perennials.
Yes, yes. And then I do have to just say how incredible what Ethan's parents, did and just their community. I had reached out to the Tulip Farm to say, hey, can we have an event there for, our alumni, an opportunity for them to gather in our community to get together and heal and support one another. They said yes, reached out to Ethan's parents. That's how we got connected to say, hey, can we raise money for the foundation? And after a while, they reached out to me and said the right thing to do is to split um, the proceeds from this event amongst all four student scholarships. So there are four scholarships that have been created in the student's name under the Vandals Supporting Vandals Fund at the University of Idaho. And the Chapins donated proceeds to all four scholarships equally, which is absolutely incredible. And we raised $4,000 that weekend, and that got donated to the scholarships. And we will have another one next year. I have some merch, the leftover merch from this year. So if anybody wants one, hit me up. You can just Venmo Stacy Chapin, and then I can mail you this sweatshirt that we have left over.
Oh, good.
So
Me. I
yep,
didn't get one. Yes, me.
yeah, I
Okay.
got you, Mindy, for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
that's
their ones.
great because I missed the deadline. That's good to know.
Yeah, yeah. So I actually am picking up all the rest that they have, and then I'm going to, give them to like the university president and some stuff like that. So just shoot me. You guys are serious and you want one? Just
Yes, I'll get mine
drop
this
me a
weekend.
message. Yeah, yeah. Just drop me a message, and then we can get that taken care of. And then I'll put a link in my bio to the Ethan Smile Foundation. But I don't want
Michelle,
this
me
to
too, girl.
also.
Me too.
Right.
Extra
And I
large.
don't want this to feel like I'm not supporting the other three victims and their families. Not at all. This was just one opportunity to use a space, in conjunction with one of the families to facilitate an opportunity to give back in all four students' names.
I was gonna say we
So
did get back in all four students' names anyway.
yeah, and we have reached out. I'm not going to share more, but there is going to be more events to come. Not just that one. I'm not going to share any more than that. So please stay tuned for to be involved with other families. There'll be more things we're doing. But yes, this is going to be an annual event, and the Chapins every day on that year will donate the proceeds to all four student scholarships equally. They also, if you guys have heard of Glassy Baby, it is a glass blowing from Seattle, which is really incredible. So everything is like one of a kind pieces. And they donate a significant amount of their proceeds to whatever you want, whatever anything it is. And
Okay.
so they had reached out to Stacy about doing one, after Ethan was murdered. And so he is a triplet for those of you that don't know. And so they will be creating one. There'll be an option for votives and wine glasses, and their triplet he was blue. Hunter is green, and then Maisie is pink. And so it'll be those three colors kind of swirled together. The proceeds, if you buy the triplet one, will go to the Ethan Smile Foundation, which again is all for a scholarship to send students to college. And then Stacy's so flippin' incredible. She said, hey, can we get a Vandal one going too? And so she sent me a picture. We're doing a yellow and black one that's going to be a Vandal Strong one. And all of those proceeds will go to the Vandal Supporting Vandal Scholarship. So the largest size for the sweatshirts, I believe there's a double XL. The largest size for the glassy babies, I believe, is a wine glass. And so they are so flippin' incredible, you guys, that we actually inducted them as honorary alumni, Jim and Stacy, the weekend after the Tulip Farm
That's
festival, if you
amazing.
will. Yeah, so they're honorary alumni. They're officially Vandals, and they're just so incredible, and they've done so much for the community already. And they just still are very supportive of their other two children still continuing to attend the University of Idaho, and they're incredible parents. They've done a lot for a lot of the Sigma Chi's, and they're incredible people. So thank you for letting me share that. And then there's some awesome Ethan Smile merch. If you look up, are you crying, man?
No, my one eye is watering.
And then if you look up like Stacy's on Instagram if you want, but there's a company in their local town that came out with some new merch through their business, and they're also donating all of that. Stacy has a thing where she always says hug your people, and that's on one of the new sweatshirts, and they're really flipping cool. So I'll actually just drop the link I'll drop the links in my bio. I got you guys. I'll
Yes.
create it.
Yeah.
I did
Listen,
look
because
in
I'll
there the
do it.
one day, and they had a bunch of cool merch. That
They
was
do.
really
Yeah, it's all new. It's so dope. So my merch that I will be having that you can get from me is going to be the inaugural, like, I can't say that word, first year only sweatshirts that you can never get again. Vintage
Yes,
inaugural.
I want one of those.
Thank you.
Hey,
It's
I
just hard
came
for
on
me
to
to say, Brian.
shamelessly ask you, Flukes, to give me a follow so that I can message you.
Am I not? What the fuck? Are you kidding me right now?
I
There we
know.
go.
I was like, what is her deal?
Is
Gosh,
this real
obviously
life?
that's a
Thank you
problem.
so much for going over all of that. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. I think
Thank
there
you for
might be a lot of people in
asking.
here that maybe didn't know about all of this. So this is great.
Thank you
Wonderful
for
information.
asking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Thanks,
These are
Flukes.
the things
absolutely.
we need to be focusing on, guys. Like, it's not like there's a
Absolutely.
lack of things to talk about. They might not be, I don't know, dramatic or speculatory or just crazy,
No.
but
Even
it's good
Sherry's dropping good
information.
news. Like, you guys don't know probably, or maybe you do, but the University of Idaho, our rivals are in Southern Idaho, and that is Boise State University. And we do not love each other, like ever, right? However, after this, they hosted a vigil on their campus, and they flew the Vandal flag above their football field after that.
Oh,
So they did
Oh,
a lot
wow.
to support us.
what a
I had
wonderful
actually reached out
gesture.
to UW. Yeah, we had our alumni over in the Puget Sound area in Seattle, and we're saying, hey, we can't drive back to Moscow for the vigil because it's winter, the roads are bad, but we want to do something. So I reached out to the University of Washington, UW, and I said, hey, like, do you have a space that we could have some vandals gather? And they said, yeah, can our students gather as well? So UW hosted a huge vigil in conjunction with the one on the Moscow campus as well. We had alumni all over the nation that gathered together to do it. And so there's just, there's really lovely things and stories that have resulted from, this incredibly tragic incident. And so I appreciate you all offering a platform to be able to highlight that and share that. There's not just this consistent dark cloud over our community and our, this family that we really do have, because it is a Vandal family, y'all. Like, we are a close knit community. And so to be able to share the good that's happening as well is just incredible. So thank you all so much for offering that platform.
Absolutely. I mean, those are the things that we should be focusing on. There's time later at the trial to worry about all that other stuff. Like, honestly, we're going to have to let Ellie do their job. Like, they are doing their job.
Yep. And the trial's not going to be for a hot minute. Like, we need to be patient and be kind. I mean, I think that's what I would ask is, like, talk about it for sure, right? Like, asking questions and like pushing the boundaries is how we make things better in this world. So ask questions in a respectful way. But maybe just like, as we proceed, just you ask yourself, am I approaching this in the kindest way? That's all, maybe, right? I don't know.
I agree. Does anyone
Yeah,
else have
you're
any
absolutely
questions
right.
or theories that they've heard that they want to ask us about, if we can debunk or substantiate them at all?
And
Yeah,
so
and
I
I
did
feel like maybe
share.
we need to do more of these lives for that purpose because there is
Debunking
so much
sessions.
misinformation going on. So maybe we need to make that goals to when we see those things. Say, hey, let's talk about it, and this is why this is not true, and let's stay on track, kind of thing.
For sure. And if you
Yeah.
guys are following me, I've got quite a bit of follows. Thank you for that. If you're following me for true crime content, aside from coming into lives, you won't see any of my platform, but you will see my 5 really fucking cute animals. And I think I make awesome videos about them.
They are super
However,
cute.
right, I do send information. So, Indy, so some of the videos, the TikToks that have been made recently, blatantly, talking about misinformation, I've sent the facts to both Body, Mindy, and Indy, and they will be sharing videos coming up soon after this as well with the facts to just not, I mean, not to address in a bad way at all, but just to kind of revisit some of those wrong wrong facts, if you will, that are popping up, and share what is factual. So please follow Mindy, Body, and Indy. I'm their plug. I leak information to them.
I love you.
Not leak. I mean, I Google it and we're good. But anyway,
Right.
so and then I'm still doing research, but I know people are very gung ho about saying the community has a rug problem and the university. I'm actually currently going back 10 years, so I'm looking at the last decade in Moscow itself, within the community, the college campus, and then the broader Latah County. So I should have a count for you guys soon, looking at the overdoses and the exact number. So I'm
Oh,
doing that
good. We were
research
talking
just because
about
of,
that today.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
You know
So
what?
Yes,
I've been
thank
working on that.
We
you.
want
That's
to do
awesome.
around here so we can compare it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe I'll look
100%.
into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think that it'd be really good. And I mean, and I'm not saying that these don't exist in our town, but to say that it's an epidemic is not factual.
Shannon, that was just a rumor. That,
Schools
again,
usually
never
cover
came.
negative information.
Yeah,
Well,
that
I
never
mean,
came from law enforcement or anything out there. That was just a rumor that somebody came up with, and that's what we got to be mindful.
yeah, and you guys,
Is
the
Yeah.
University of Idaho campus, it's very small. There's no way that our school could cover up the actual reason for any student's death. We've
mhm,
also only had 7 deaths in the past 3 years. You can look that up. I also don't think their parents would fib about the reason for their deaths either. So no, our university has not, would not cover up anything or lie about any of that information. Absolutely not. If anything, we actually provided space for law enforcement to hold press conferences to share factual information.
absolutely.
Over.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to stick to the guns on that one. I will. That's one that I'll get defensive on because that's not cool. That's not true.
Right. Right.
We had
Like,
a
fucking
question.
Google it. Like, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. We had a question. Was any of them on dating sites? So we don't know for sure, in all honesty. We did see a plethora of information that was asked to be provided. So if there is any of that information, they asked for it. So it's not necessarily meaning that there was connections in those places. Like we saw uh, requests for information from eBay and Tinder and banks and all of these other things. That doesn't mean that there's going to be information from each one of those things. It just means if there is information, they're covering their butts to make sure that they asked for it, and that by asking for it, they will get that. But we don't have any of that confirmed.
And yeah, and exactly. We'll tell you as well if we don't. Yes, Idaho Falls did do something as well, Sherry. Sorry, that's not what I logged on here to say. But like, yeah, like Cheryl said, she loves that she can ask this community, and we'll clarify or not. But also, we'll let you know if we don't know. Like if we don't know the answer to something, we will let you know that. And there's a lot that we don't know still.
About Steve saying there was a connection. Do you want to speak on that, Floops? They're asking about that.
No, no, I would prefer not to talk about the families if that's okay.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's okay.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
I don't think it's fair to talk about, anything that, that any of the family said right after, when with the request of, are you looking at this and the questioning, I can't imagine what the processing of any of that was, or, the context that any of that was said in. I don't feel comfortable speaking to that because I don't know, I don't know what
People say a lot of things
that
when they're
was.
upset and looking
Yeah.
for answers.
So. Yeah, so I prefer not to speak on Steve's feelings or his thoughts on any of those matters because I
Okay.
do not know.
Any other questions? Anybody?
Sammy had one
Any?
here. Was
That
it
want to
Okay.
even
fight?
confirmed BK had a substance abuse disorder? I felt that wasn't ever confirmed. I don't know if you would call it confirmed. I mean, there have been people from his high school that have come out and spoken. Whether or not that is true, I really don't know. I mean, we can take their word for it with a grain of salt, but without a record on that one, it's kind of
It would just be
speculation still at
hearsay.
this point. Yeah, it's
Right.
hearsay.
Yeah.
No, guys. We're not as exciting because we don't have the
I
speculation.
know.
Oh,
And
there's
that's
another
fine.
one
We're
too that
so
I've been like,
boring.
We are
I know,
so
right?
boring because
Well,
we're not speculating.
there
We're
is that
so
other one
boring.
too. If you guys wanted to debunk the veteran that with the whole SWAT incident in Pullman and how people were saying that they were connected and that he probably
Yeah.
planted Brian's DNA on the knife or something like that. I don't know if you guys want to address that, but that's also
I think
another
people
one that's
watch
starting
one
to
too many
recirculate.
movies. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that's another one recirculating if anybody wants to talk
I
about that
think
one.
that's important, right? Because on multiple fronts. Number one, because it happened in close proximity to his arrest. Number two, because he mentioned it himself when he was pulled over in Indiana. And number three, because it is dishonoring a veteran,
Right.
who by the way isn't here to defend himself. So
And
yeah, I think that needs to
exactly,
be addressed.
exactly. And the way he mentioned it too. So my background, is in psychology, and I pay a lot of attention to, kind of like just your body language and whatnot. Even people were talking about his like arrogance before he was arrested and how he speaks to women and men differently. And I do agree that he absolutely, disrespects women. I mean, that's something that Kristen talks about, and I absolutely agree. However, I think that his demeanor is very telling, before and after the crimes. Like you're going to be more confident before. You're likely going to be a little bit more like, oh fuck, I hope I don't say the wrong thing. Like when his dad starts looks at his dad like that look, and you all know what I mean. He like throws daggers at his dad when he starts talking. But I think too, in my mind, I feel like the reason why he likely brought that up was he needed a reason to be fucking bouncing, right? Like why would he be driving cross country for Thanksgiving break when he needs to come back to school when it's not finished yet? Right? Like he needed, so I think maybe he brought that up for perhaps a reason to bounce.
Yeah, and
Like
he
Yeah.
was
this is just
asking
again,
about
this
Trump
is just
bringing up the overdoses, and that's not true. That is something that me and Flus were talking about earlier. There's not those deaths. There was an article written to scare kids away from doing drugs, and it was taken out of context. There are not
Yeah.
multiple
That's
children
yeah.
completely false.
By the
ODing.
way,
Right.
I did send Mindy the article today because I was trying to find where, because there were some creators that were quoting that they saw an article. They were confidently saying they saw articles that said that there were 2 to 3 overdoses, and at first they said of students, university students weekly. But I did find an article, and it was a few years back. The opioid crisis is a thing everywhere. And there were police officers going into the high school a few years ago. And they had quoted one of the police officers that said, we deal with nearly one overdose a week. So when you're talking, that wasn't him saying this like, you know what I mean? That was just a quote of him in his school talking to students to try to scare them away from drugs. So who knows? And that's why I'm trying to look into the facts of that and the actual numbers and whatnot. So, but if that was the actual article, that officer did say one per week, and that was talking to high school students. So that's the facts about the article. And it was
Right.
not
And
about university.
I feel like this further casts a shadow on the town in general. Um, we've just got to be really mindful about these things, even those things like that, to say those things, because this has been a horrific thing for everyone in the community, and it really is, from what I can see, a beautiful little quaint storybook town. And it
It
just
is.
a very unfortunate thing happened. Horrible, horrible. But that doesn't mean that the whole place is a horrible place.
Right.
In 2020 or 2021, I can't remember. I was actually living in Belgium at the time, but I was watching SNL, and I thought it was a joke at first. And they were talking about how Moscow, Idaho is the number one place in America to raise children. It was like voted that, and they were making fun of it because it sounded like Moscow, Russia. And then we're talking about potatoes.
Hmm.
And I looked it up. My friend's a real estate agent. She's like, no, it really is. And there's a huge influx of people there. So at that time, it was just this, wonderfully safe, amazing place to be. And it is gorgeous.
Right,
It is,
right.
yeah. And Rita, you're so right. It is so hard to know who to believe these days. And that's why we're having this live, is just to talk about being mindful of, the content you consume, the comments that you make, so like the content you create, because you don't know what to believe in. Some people who aren't well versed in the case, and they might believe these things that are thrown out and said very confidently, because there has been very false information said in a very confident manner, which I would believe if I didn't know better. And so
Right.
for those things,
Right.
I mean, the stuff that I sent Mindy, so I was a little bit fired up, last night, obviously. Woke up, chose violence by researching. And Mindy, the things I sent you to debunk all of that, it was, literally, I typed it in Google, y'all. I scrolled down and clicked on maybe 3 articles and had the answer. So if there
Hmm.
are questions that you all have about, like, is what this creator saying legit, just type it in. Like, type in how many overdoses are there in Moscow, how many deaths are there at the University of Idaho. Like, all of this comes up. And I mean, you
Even
can
do it with us,
absolutely,
guys. Like, do it to
yeah,
us.
absolutely, please, yeah, challenge us. And
Yeah.
um even if we misspeak or
I mean,
whatnot. But
ask those questions. We can Google it on a live.
Right? Like, we like learning
exactly,
together, but what we don't like doing is hurting victims' families and tarnishing victims' reputations and accusing those who aren't named suspects. I mean, that's a very dangerous web to weave.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we only know a tiny bit, and there's a difference in between asking respectful questions and victim blaming. There's a very obvious line, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
I appreciate everybody being on and giving us the opportunity to talk about it and being open to I guess having information that they assume maybe to be true challenged. And I just really appreciate everybody that's in here and has been really incredibly kind throughout all this, as well to one another.
Yeah, everyone has been so amazing in the chat. Good questions. We're just so thankful for everyone and very appreciative for sitting with us and listening to us go through all of this with you all. And just remember, when you're in other lives and things like this come up, the families, they see these things too. Um, Friends of the victims see these things too. And
I have family
that's
members of the
sad.
victims that follow my page. Like,
Yeah.
and I
You
know
do.
that they see other people's videos as well as my own. And for other people not to just consider that when they're creating the content, like,
There is a
it's really sad.
student who knows them very well. Let's just say that is in our lives quite often, and I'm not going to out that person, but
No. And I
there's
want them
someone
to
that
know that we're there for
and this is
them
a
and we
safe
don't
space for
want,
them. Absolutely. But
yeah,
yeah,
we
but
don't
I mean,
want
with
to
that
put
being
them.
said, it's just exactly just be mindful, you know. And again, that's why I appreciate you all so much and being able to provide that platform, Mindy. So I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate
Absolutely.
you too. We do.
Even if I get told that
As
I'm all the drama, I'll deal with it.
So another question I've seen a couple people ask this one: have a lot of students left because of this? So our university did offer all students the opportunity to do classes virtually or in person. They didn't have to make the decision whether they were doing either or. They could come back if they had started virtual, or if they were uncomfortable, they could switch to virtual if they were in person. So they have had that option to leave. Some did not come back immediately, and you guys hear me? My AirPods just died.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can hear
okay,
you.
sorry. I heard the do 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 do. So, some students, are choosing to do virtual. Some have come back. Some did virtual at first and then have come back. There have been a lot of students that didn't feel comfortable living in those apartments, and so there is a fund that our university has to help students in need, and we have used money out of that fund to help students break leases, pay security deposits in apartments not near the house. Again, a lot of that is to the media
Right.
infestation, I'll say, at the house. Another reason as well why our students are asking that to be taken down is so they can comfortably go back home. Some that have apartments there have chose not to come back to school for that reason, not because they don't feel safe or because they don't like the university, but it's the harassment. Our university has also increased our psychological support immensely. So our psych department has more than doubled. In addition, we have created partnerships with local clinics and practitioners in the surrounding community so that if we cannot provide immediate support for students, they are being, I don't want to say sent somewhere because that's the wrong, but you know what I mean. We're providing them support even if it's outside of the university. Does that answer those questions, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Were there
Um,
any safety
Yes.
measures put in place
Yes.
after this?
Yes. Directly after, up until recently, there was a constant FBI presence on campus. We still have increased security on campus. We have multiple options for students to be able to call if they feel unsafe or want a walking buddy to their car after class, before class, at any point. So yes, it has been increased immensely. Again, my background is in psychology, performance psychology under stress. I have taught situational awareness classes, what that looks like to students, when they're walking in their car. So we have been teaching and providing, classes, training, self-defense, a lot of different things. So yes, yes, to answer your question. Lots of safety measures. And we have already had incredible lighting. We've had great camera systems, all that kind of good stuff as well.
that's amazing. Yeah, wow. Really taking care of their own over there. And that's wonderful. I'm sure the community has just, with everything, the impact, even financially, has been just catastrophic in a sense, I would imagine. Sounds like the best measures have been taken and are still being taken. And I'm so glad that you're able to get on here and talk to everyone about this and let them know
Yeah.
all of the things that have
And one
taken
thing,
place.
and Peach, you mentioned financially, the University of Idaho is best in the West. We have been for years. Our enrollment rates have just been like skyrocketing and going up every single year. Our enrollment has always historically been incredible, and it's at an all-time low right now, which, you know, might be due to this, but I do have to give so much props to our university president, President Green. Like, he hasn't talked about that. None of us do. The faculty, the staff, like, we don't give a fuck. Like, we want to take care of the community. We don't, like, that doesn't matter, right? Like, that blemish,
Yeah.
whatever that is, like, we have brought together. And there, I mean, the term Vandal Strong, you guys, that was a term coined by President Green to reflect the resilience and the strength of, you know, that's brought all of us together. The community, I mean, we're so tight. This has brought us together, and we are so much stronger than we were before. You know, we will be okay. But I do have to say that I have not heard, you know, and I'm on advisory committees about, like, money for the university and how we maintain programs and stuff, and not one person has mentioned that as a concern. Like, all that we care about
Oh,
is taking care
good.
of our students in our community. So yes, sure, that's taken a hit, but I do have to say, like, we care about taking care of the people more than anything. No, we have not
Yeah,
got
and
any
it
seekers
sounds
yet.
like because of that, I mean, yeah, I feel like you'll be back on top before you know it. I just because of all the wonderful things that you got, and you know, the university just loves the community and loves the students, and I just this is amazing to know that I think it will be probably better than before one day, hopefully sooner than later,
Can
definitely.
they sue Brian? They can, but I mean, they're not going to get anything from him. They could.
See right
And I
now,
think,
I think I missed that.
and I mean, I don't know anything about law, but I think sometimes there's families that can, like, sue in civil court if they
Yeah.
get, right, if they're not found guilty and that kind of stuff. So I don't know
Right.
why they would need
Yeah,
to.
the
And they
wrongful
might
death.
get a
Yeah.
judgment, but I mean, he doesn't have anything that I don't think he
Correct.
has a bank account anywhere stashed with millions of dollars that would pay it off.
No.
Yeah. So who knows, Ashley, they could. Who knows if that would work out or why or whatevs. That's not,
Right.
don't know. But I do,
Rita,
This
she
would
really is very informative. Floofs. Yes,
thank
she
you.
is. She's amazing.
And thank you
Michelle,
all.
I
Knowing the
was just gonna say
difference
that.
between factual information and random conspiracy theories.
And I know sometimes I can sound stern, and I do acknowledge that this is my community. So I'm not completely objective. Like, I am emotionally invested. And so I acknowledge that, and thank you all for being patient with me when I get spun up sometimes.
It's not crazy how he got good lawyers with no money. It is a huge case. The state has to give him good representation.
It's public.
It's
Yeah, he is a public defender. The public defender is being paid bank, but it's because it's a death penalty case.
right. All the attorneys are basically public defenders, or they're real lawyers and stuff, but they're called in to do this pro bono.
Yes.
They're
And
they're
then,
not paying him. His family's
yes,
not paying
Ashley,
them.
the
He's not
taxpayer,
paying them.
no, the taxpayers are paying her a shitload every month. Yes.
And her and
But
the rest of the lawyers.
correct. And on that one, people have been saying how like his attorney is not competent, and that's why they added more people. In the state of Idaho, you have to have more than one legally because it's a death penalty case. Also saying how, like, she chose Brian's case over, Xana's mom or whatever. Like, that's also been
That was
debunked. She is actually the only one in the county that, like, has the experience necessary to represent him on a death penalty case. So, so just those type of things, it's like, that's a quick Google too. So if you hear someone say that, like, Google, like, how many lawyers are required on a death penalty case in Idaho, like, it's easy to debunk these things, my friends.
Absolutely.
But the crazy conspiracy theories are more exciting.
They're so much more fun. They're more fun than
They
talking about
are
tulips
so
and
much more
sweatshirts.
fun.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand why people do it, and I understand the whole, we used to call it the uh-oh crowd. When you see a train wreck or you see a car wreck, everybody's like looking instead of driving, and it's the uh-oh crowd. They want to stare at that. They want it, like, that's what draws them in. So it's like,
Right, right.
yeah, you're drawn into it, but you can't believe it.
I mean, I like true crime too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I try to digest it and consume it in a ethical, kind, and respectful way. There's just a difference.
Oh,
Tina
absolutely,
Marie.
absolutely. With the amount of law enforcement, private plane, alone, like just the extradition back was probably a
My personal opinion, when people said that Anne shouldn't be able to represent them, my personal opinion is that I disagree.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Highly disagree.
yeah, strongly disagree. I think that she's the best person to represent him in our state. She's very good at what she does. She has the background, the knowledge, the experience I mean, I personally think he's guilty. So when he's found guilty, she has the correct background for them to not come back and say he didn't have the proper representation, so this needs to be overturned.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's
Right.
my
Needs to
person.
have
That's
the
my
proper
personal opinion.
representation.
Yes. And then, yeah, also Bill, the prosecutor, he's fucking good, y'all. Like,
No,
he's
she did
good.
not. That's what Floofs was just saying, Rita. She never represented
So,
Xana's mom. Xana's
yeah.
mom misspoke. They never met in person.
Well, I'll say where that came from. So, and I forget what she's called. I'll have to Google this because, again, that wasn't on like my research today. But because of her position and like her experience in the county, her name goes on all the cases automatically. So before they get assigned to whatever public defender it is, her name goes on every single one of the cases. So that's
Right.
why
Yeah.
her name was associated with Xana's mom, but she did not represent Xana. Her name was on the case until it got shifted to a different public defender.
Yeah.
So that is the truth. That is fact.
We had a question that kind of flew by, and
Okay.
Lucy can correct me if I'm wrong here. Someone asked if it was confirmed that DP was on the table for a judgment, and I believe yes. Is that still correct, Floofs?
Is that what they figure out prelim?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, right?
I think so, because I feel like the judge said, if you are found guilty, you do realize that this is what you could be looking at, and that was part of it.
Which is
I don't
why
think
they had
they
to bring
said for
Anne
sure
in.
or not. I
Right.
think they just said that could be a possibility.
Yeah, it's
Right.
still on the table, just
Correct.
not
It's on the-
clarified that that's absolutely what he's facing.
Exactly. Right. And I think that's also why, since it is a possibility, that's why they were pushing through all about the firing squad and that kind of thing. And yes, thank you so much, Melissa. She is the Kootenai County lead defender.
Yes.
That is why her name is on
Is
everything.
always on the paperwork.
Yes, that was the language I couldn't think about, the title. So yes.
And Rita, it's okay.
They had to. They didn't even have a choice. Like, she's the only one that's a DP certified because it's a possible death penalty case. So, like, no choice. She's on it.
Rita, it's okay to ask questions.
Please.
We appreciate you asking questions. What we don't appreciate is you coming in and say, no, this is fact when it's not fact. So don't be sorry for asking questions like that. You're perfectly fine.
Yeah. We want you guys to
Yeah,
ask
I mean, we want you guys to ask questions, and that's what we're here for.
That's the whole point of this live.
What the guy neighbor people kept making theories about?
Did Brian pick her? No, Brian didn't pick her. The state picked her for Brian.
She was
Brian
assigned.
doesn't have a choice, really. Like, he could try to fire them or something, but he doesn't get to hire them.
So the Enon dude, you guys, that was another. I don't know what to say about that. Like, that's just, in my opinion, that was just a weird dude that got interviewed and had absolutely nothing to do with it. That was just an awkward fucking interview. That's my opinion.
It was. I agree, and I
Somebody
feel like
wanted to
maybe
be
he wanted a
relevant.
little bit of attention, and
Yeah.
that was probably the majority of. Well, that was
That's my
probably the
opinion.
reason for all
We
of
don't
it.
know anything about
Wanted
him.
to feel like they were special for a day.
Exactly. That was just
Right.
who knows? That's my opinion. That is not fact. We don't know. We don't know what his deal is, but
We
he's a
don't
neighbor.
know.
Yes. He lives at the Brown Apartments. If you're looking at the house, he does live in the apartments to the left. No, nothing else. I don't believe he was a student. Was he? He wasn't a university student. I don't think he was like a janitor or something at some business.
No, I don't believe
Wasn't he
so.
a cook or something? Like, he did like a stupid job, or not stupid, but like a.
Yeah, he's not
common.
not a student. He's not a student at all.
No.
A chef in Pullman. Thank you, Melissa.
That's I thought. Yeah, a chef, a cook.
See, between all of us, we know the facts.
Right. And like when we're trying to correct people, we're not trying to fight with them, or it's not like a, oh my God, you're wrong, I'm right thing. It's
No.
just, we're trying to hold the integrity of things here.
No, it's like Melissa correcting me right now. He's a chef. Thank you. It's not a janitor. He's a cook. He's a
Exactly.
chef. Thank you. Like,
It's
I was
not
wrong.
like,
That's it.
like Jesus. I just feel like today was like, oh, I don't like you, so now I'm going to spread misinformation. Like, what? What?
I mean, it's fine. Just
It's
whatever.
not. It's not.
Yeah, and it, I mean,
People are weird.
and I know a part of that, there was, it was said, we have questions, we have a right to have questions and to ask questions. Well, we all do.
Right. But,
But there are just answers that we're not going to get. Yeah, there's answers we're not going to get that we may never get. But we're just saying,
it's another thing to insinuate things.
right. That's right. And that's pretty much where we are.
Yeah, Rita, no, not the same chef at all. Sorry, I was getting confused. No, not that.
Not crazy
like
chef.
his job. No. His job, he was a cook. Like he was a cook chef, not the same chef. Not at all. Sorry.
Not misinformation chef.
No. Oh gosh.
Let us clarify that. Yes.
Yes. So
Chef
Rita,
of
no.
lies.
We're talking about an actual occupation.
Yes. Yeah, this
Not
was
a person.
physically like a line cook or something. You know what I mean? A chef cook. He whipped up that food.
Yeah,
If
they
moved
still have
case
the
to
same
Boise-
representation.
Yes.
If they move the case, those lawyers would just
Follow
hang
them.
out down there.
Sherry, I don't know if you're actually talking about the same person. So if you do know a name, please clarify. But if you're
she's talking about Hudson. She's talking about Hudson.
Yeah, he was not found in a river.
There's not even a river there.
No, you can Google it if you want. His name was Hudson. He was found, I believe it was May 20th. And it's near a bridge, and
It's a different person.
Oh, I don't know who you're talking about then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure who you're talking about then. If you have a name, we can try to clarify, but
sorry, didn't know you lived there.
I'm not sure who you're talking. I don't want to spread misinformation on that because I'm just not
I
sure.
hear what she's saying. Sorry. Sherry's saying like what she's saying is how he said that how they were saying that he was found in the river. She's agreeing with us.
Oh,
like he's sarcastically saying, "What river?"
Okay, gotcha.
What river?
Got you, Sherry. Sherry lives here too. Hi, let's hang out sometime. I'm gonna add you as a friend. I just followed you.
Thank you, Sherry, for clarifying. Yeah, like the chef was saying last night that it was a river and it barely qualifies for a creek. So
it's literally just runoff that's actually dry right now. Like because there hasn't been rain, it's completely dry. So
that's what I mean. It's barely a creek.
Yeah.
Like don't they call it creek or something? She said Paradise Creek. They call it.
Yeah, that's what it's called. But I mean, it's just because it sounds cute instead of what it actually is, which is fucking disgusting. Yeah. Like it's right by a baseball field too. Sherry will know this. And like kids will go play in it and they come out and they stink. It's like, it's gross. It's like runoff.
And Floof tried to correct it last night and she was told that she is wrong. She needs to hush up because she is wrong.
I was also muted on a live. I sent you the text.
And you just don't know what you're talking about.
No.
You know.
I don't.
So.
I for sure. Yeah, Sherry, it's only a creek for like after spring, basically, like in the spring.
I mean, maybe we are wrong. How does the lady that lives in the area that works at the school know more than the random chef in Canada? I mean, it just makes sense that the random chef in Canada would know more, correct?
Duh.
I mean, really?
Jeez.
We're just
Brian.
Shannon, no, Brian. I don't know if I want to. Your imagination.
Shannon, I don't know if I want to open the Papa Rogers can of worms. I don't know. Like, I don't know, honestly. Like, I don't know what my opinion is.
Yeah. I'm 50-50.
Same.
I'm 50-50.
We'll know when we know.
Oh, yeah, I was muted on. So the reason why, I'll be honest, the reason why I got on the live yesterday and kind of was fired up is a couple of days prior, which, again, I sent the screenshot of the message I received after to Mindy, to Indy, and to Body. But I had jumped on and they were talking about basically there was a huge rug problem at the university and that 2 to 3 students a week were dying from overdoses. And I said, that's not true in the comments. I was like, I'm a local and I'm happy to, speak to that if you guys would like. And Chef goes, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like block her, mute her. And then all of a sudden, and then I was going to say, I do know what I'm talking about. I'm a local, but then I went to go type and I was muted. And then after that, so then I left the live, and then after that, I got a message from Chef apologizing to me and saying how they're trying to bring light to the rug problem at the university and in our community, which I'll be honest, we don't need a stranger to bring light to that in our community when it doesn't exist. Like, we need strangers to stop spreading misinformation. But that's what happened. And then last night when it was being said again, and then honestly, I saw all my homies in there, I felt supported. And so I requested to get into the live to speak. I was talked over and told that I was incorrect. And so I jumped off and left. That's all. That's
We
like
were
just
being
the
very
facts.
respectful, being very calm. We were told that we were yelling and arguing with them. Floofs was told that she doesn't know what she's talking about. She was kicked out. It was very interesting. And for somebody to claim that they're an investigative reporter, they should probably investigate the things that they put on TikTok before they put them on TikTok.
Even Feel's got the hand slap of face.
Like,
Yeah.
I know,
literally, you
Feel.
guys,
I
it took
know.
me for each one of the things that they were saying. And I obviously I know the facts, but I still like Googled it to be like, how hard would it be for them to like just Google and verify what they're saying with their chest, loud and proud? And it took me like literally, I typed in one fucking sentence, press search, and you can verify or not, So it's just, yeah. So it was just a little bit frustrating.
Yeah. And that's why we felt the need to do this tonight. And maybe we're just going to need to do it once a week, because I feel like now that we came out and cleared this up, they might actually double down on their bullshit again. So,
And yes, I Googled it because I wanted, and I screenshotted basically everything just in case. And I did send those screenshots. So like Indy is going to be making a series about misinformation that's being spread again with the
Oh,
screenshots that I
great.
took. Yeah.
thank
So
God.
please
You make
reshare
That
it
would be
those.
amazing.
Yeah. So please, the receipts. I took the receipts, and like I'll be honest with you, I don't fucking need to Google it, but I did so that I could screenshot it. We could literally like hold the articles up that debunk these things. And so please follow again, Indie True, and then if you guys can also just repost those videos so that we can reach more people with the correct information. And again, like Indy, if you're on, I fucking love you. Thank you for being always down to do videos. Body also was like, I'll make one or I'll repost.
They're
Mindy was
so
like,
good
I'll
at
make
making the
one.
videos. Like, I try. I'm not the best at the videos.
Well, Mindy, what you're great at is like you provide a space to have a live to discuss it. Like you provide a safe space for people, and like instantly you're like, okay, I'll have a live for you. So like you all came together, and so thank you all for doing that. So so keep an eye out for that. And so I'm researching along with other people, and then correct information will be shared, and that's all. So yeah.
Um,
I don't know, Hope. I hear you. You guys are all sweet, but I'm a nice person. Like I would never get on and not be nice. That's just not who I am. Like I just remove myself from it. But I appreciate you all having my back.
I knew it was going
yeah.
left
I will
real
come up.
quick. I got the
Oh,
SOS
yeah,
signal, and it was like,
absolutely.
oh
We were like,
no.
wait.
And I think somebody said it correctly earlier. We were hurting the person's image and the actual host because we weren't going with the narrative of the craziness.
Yeah. But
Floofs, I don't know if you
yeah,
saw it, but Feel said that if you wanted him to, he could also make content.
okay,
I
perfect.
don't know how much of your content or anything that you watch of his, but he's another
Yeah.
good one in my eyes here. So yeah, if you want him to make anything, just let him
Listen,
know.
I think anybody that is interested
For
in
sure.
making a video to debunk any of these theories is more than welcome.
And I'll be
I
so
absolutely. I'll
wish I
make some
could.
too. Just, if you have things you want to send me, please
Of course,
do.
Feel.
If
and
you want to get with us on Discord too, that might be a really good thing
yeah. And the reason
also.
why I don't share or I don't make content is because my animal page is like off the chain and I don't want to taint that. However, I'll be honest, the real reason is because this, like, not this community with these people on right now, but the true crime community can be ruthless. And I didn't want to put myself out there by making content, saying that, making myself vulnerable by saying this is who I am in this community. Like I've seen how people are doxxed and attacked for sharing this information. And quite frankly, I just wanted to be able to support my community and not dealing with the stress of having to defend myself or my community on TikTok.
Right.
So I have just been
Right.
Yeah.
present with, the families and with the students. And so that's why I choose not to make content, is because this is like my real life every day. So that's why I choose not to. But
Well, I think that there's a
Well,
big
and we get
difference
it.
between true crime and tinfoil hat theories.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
there's a
mean, I've
lot of
seen
people
how
We
you
that
guys,
totally
say
get it.
this
I
is
mean, most of
crime.
my content is not crime related because I still love trends and I like doing my own thing and I like cooking and things like that. And then some of that is I put true crime in there. So yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from. It is a little intimidating
and it's
for me
yeah,
sometimes,
and
you
it's
know.
like, and not that it's not real life to you guys, but like I literally like live it, talk about it, go to meetings about it at work, like figure out a way ahead to support, our students, our alumni, the community. And so like to then also go like make a TikTok about it is just, yeah, I just like that just seems like a lot of energy.
No, Flukes, you
What
are
today?
exactly
The
right. You
Yeah,
live
yeah.
Casey?
it a lot more
What
than
does
we do
this
for
mean?
sure.
Oh, his live was reported
Well,
last night.
guys, I hate to do this, but it's getting late and I'm going to have to hop out of here pretty soon.
No
Thanks for
problem.
being on,
Um,
Peachy.
I am a bit
but I
thin
wanted to
too.
just say
Same,
thank
I'm
you for
tired.
everybody who stayed with us, who listened to us, and just know, our goal is to spread correct information, and be mindful and respectful when we do it. And we just want everybody to kind of understand where we're coming from and the importance of the kinds of things, and why it's not okay. So we thank you and I thank you for being here and sticking with us and giving Floofs the opportunity to really speak because she knows her stuff.
Yes, she
She's part of
does.
that community.
And I think it
That's
was
her
sort of
life, like she
disrespectful
said.
for them to shut her down of all
Yes.
people.
Right, right, right.
I
So,
mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm over it. I just like wanted the opportunity just to correct some things and to talk about what we do know to be factual.
Right. And
yeah.
I hope we corrected it for a lot of people that maybe got confused once they saw those videos. But I don't think there is any correcting those actual creators. I think they're going to continue doing what they do. I think they
Absolutely.
enjoy doing what they do. They know exactly what they're doing. They don't care who they're hurting.
And even though I don't create the content myself, I will repost any like factual information about what's happening. So if you guys do follow me, I repost. Like, there's a theme in what I repost. It's legit stuff. So
Right.
Absolutely.
And I also want to
Well, I
make it a
love
point.
everyone, and I think this has been an amazing live tonight. I think it's been great. I'm so excited that we've had so many people come in and out of the live tonight. So, great job, everybody.
Love you,
It's been a
Peachy.
really good night. It's been wonderful.
have a good night's sleep, and I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. Do you have kiddos?
I do. I have
Did they treat you
3.
well? Did they treat you well today?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. Yes, I did. Was very happy, but I have twins that are newly teenagers, and then I have one that will be 20 soon. Well, this year. But yeah, I had a good Mother's Day. Great Mother's Day.
Good. I'm
And I
glad.
hope everybody did too.
And before
I
you get
just
off, for
started a
those of
day
you
early, but I'm
asking,
okay with it.
right, people are asking if like we gather here. Hell yeah, we do. So follow Mindy, follow Peachy. Both of them do go live. I'll jump on and I piggyback off of them. But yeah, we usually all hang out together and just talk. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not
And
about
Mindy is
anything. It's just,
amazing. She goes
yeah,
live very, very often. You may see me once or twice a week, but we're always together.
yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
I'm
always.
usually either in I jump in Mindy's or Bodies or Indies or something. We're usually hanging out
Yes.
every night. Brian, yeah, you'll find, yeah, if you follow us, you'll see us in somebody's live, someone, Yeah, we just like to jam together. Sometimes we just listen to
We
music
do.
and talk about
Yeah,
This
nothing.
is the true crime side.
Yes,
that's
we
right.
do. We talk
Yeah.
about life together.
And
We
look,
just
we like to have fun and not necessarily true crime all the time. We like to have fun and cut up. We need a break.
sometimes
I mean,
Brian takes
we're not
baths.
boring all the time.
No, sometimes Brian takes baths during the live, you know.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. You know, rub a dub dub with
Exactly,
Brian.
guys.
And
Sometimes
if
we
he
get on
follows
here and argue
Beans,
with each other.
and Beans will DJ and play some playlists like a mofo. Beans has got that playlist on lock.
Yes. Yeah.
for sure.
Sometimes
Yeah,
Jacob comes in
yeah.
and sings to us. We have a good time here.
We sure do.
And I just want to preface before we leave, we're not hating on any one of you for indulging in this content. We're just telling you to be careful. So do your
Right.
research.
Absolutely.
Don't spread misinformation as fact if you just, hear it once and then go spread it to a million friends. Do your research, not everything that comes
Yeah.
out is true. We're always open for questions. I know I got a couple today on how I felt about a couple videos, and I shared my opinion. I don't mind that either. But we're not trying to say you can and cannot follow certain people. That's not what we're trying to get at here. We're just telling
Oh,
you to be
absolutely.
careful. Don't get involved in yourself of spreading misinformation as fact and stuff like that, because that that ends up looking real bad on your part. And not that we're going to hate you for it, but we just, like Peachy likes to say, this is one of my favorite things, is this is true crime, not tabloid crime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
mindful what you see and what's out there and what you spread, because
Yeah. And it's how you consume it, right? Like
yeah,
responsible consumption. Like if you're like that sounds fishy, fucking Google it. If you're like that sounds a little bit out there, fucking Google it. Like, you know what I mean? Just like take a couple minutes and just, just consume wisely.
Right. Right.
Shane.
Yeah, the
Miss
earth is
Sheila.
flat. Yeah, so just so you guys do know a couple other facts. The Tooth Fairy steals money from children, the earth is flat, and Santa Claus is real.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Just
Those
know these
facts.
things.
Screen record it. Please blast it all over TikTok. That's
Yes,
facts.
we're
I've
not
been
going to hate on
abducted
you
by aliens before,
for who
and I'm a
you
witch.
follow, but just be careful.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Santa's real.
Breaking news, guys. Breaking news.
Good night, everybody. Much love.
Much
Love,
love,
guys.
Love
everybody.
y'all.
Bye.
Stay
My
true to
little
true
bunny.
crime, peeps. Okay.
See y'all
Good night.
tomorrow.
Bye.